Woo-wee. Whoop, whoop. There it is. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, I'm so sorry. Had to get that prayer in. I was 2 minutes late, and I was like, you know what? I got to get the prayer in. Well, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? God comes first every single time. Then the mountain of tabs. Then the lotion. Then we get on. That's how it goes. Happy Memorial Day. Candace will not be with us today because it's Memorial Day, so don't expect to see her going live. Not sure if Baron's going to be, but Baron did come back yesterday in a great showing. I'm very happy that everything went well with him. Grandpa Baron, ladies and gentlemen, Grandpa Baron has arrived. That is what we get to call him. We're gonna be talking about what Baron covered. Then we're going to be jumping into the whole Tulsi Gabbard thing. At its face, it seems like she just resigned because she's having the tragedy, the absolute tragedy of her husband having this rare bone cancer, which is just terrifying, so terrifying. And prayers go out to him, definitely, and her. But then when you realize what's happened in the middle of the month, around May 10th, and you start adding up all these things, you start to go, she definitely needed to step out because of that. But was she going to get fired anyway? We're going to be looking into that a little bit. And then we're going to talk about the guy who was clearly wearing a mask on TV. No problem. As you do, you throw on a mask when you're on TV. We're going to talk about that guy a little bit. I didn't have time to. It's so funny with Tulsi resigning. Somebody said in the chat Friday, they're like, it looks like Tulsi's resigning. And I was like, oh, okay, so this person's just speculating. And then I actually, just as I ended the live stream, I click and I go, oh, and I'm like, oh, like you guys were gone. I was like, oh, no, wait, guys, oh, hold on. And I was like, all right, whatever. I guess I'll just talk about it later. Oh yeah, the guy wearing a mask on TV. Oh, I think so. We'll look into him a little bit. We'll see, but just seems very, very weird. The mask guy, and then we'll go into like what mask technology has done over the years, because I think that's really a thing. But Baron, now a grandfather, he talked about something at the beginning as he talked about becoming a grandfather, and I loved what he was talking about, and I'm surprised that he didn't bring up the Bible passage that came to mind as he was talking about it. So we're going to touch on that a little bit, okay, guys? Just a little bit, had me in my feels a little bit. You have no idea. I've never had a grandparent before, ever. So it's great to have Baron as a grandfather now. That's fantastic. But I've never had a grandfather or grandmother. Really, I've had them. They exist, but I've never seen them. I've never shaken hands with them. I've never hugged them before. I don't know what they look like. So when I see people becoming grandparents, especially at such an early age, it's just so beautiful to me. So we're actually going to start it off there, because I'm very happy about this. Let's get into it.
In the midst of all the chaos, but it was just incredibly emotional. My wife and I were actually there for the entire ordeal, for the entire event, and I cannot recommend enough soaking in the love of a newborn at some point in your life, if at all possible. There's a helpless trust. We see that Jesus says, "Come to me like a little child," and we often picture like an 8-year-old. But if you have an 8-year-old, that's probably not the most apt fitting age for the analogy. It's probably more like a 1-day-old. Total surrender, total no questioning, total no ability to do anything. I have no say in what's going on around me. You're either going to feed me or you're not. You're either going to hold me or you're not. You're either going to change me or you're not. I was holding the little baby this morning or last night. It was last night, I think. No, it was this morning. I'm holding the baby this morning. No, it was last night. I'm holding the baby, and I I felt the big one.
That's amazing. He's already a grandfather. He's already like misremembering things. He goes, was that like yesterday? Was that back in 1947? Hold on a second. When was that? Oh, it was last night. Oh, sorry about that.
And I was like, oh no, we got one of those. And I was like, hey, I'm a professional. I've done this before. You, my daughter, just sit back. Let me take care of this one. And it was, you forget. You forget. From child to child, you forget. And I think there's a blessing in that, because if you could remember, would you do it all over again? If you could remember the sleepless nights, if you could remember the constant diaper changes, if you could mention all that, would you get back in the arena and do it again? So I think there's a grace and a blessing to not remembering it, to not remembering how small they are, but there's a helplessness. Like, I'm holding this child, I'm thinking, this had to be what Jesus meant when he said, come to me like a little child, not a questioning, inquisitive toddler, not like why, because a 5-year-old can sin, not like an 8-year-old or a 9-year-old where they get a little snot nose, you know how they are, talk back a little bit, whine, that's mine, no, not like a 9-year-old, certainly not like a teenager. I've had plenty of that. I got my fourth one now as a teenager, and I don't think that's what Jesus had in mind. But while I'm holding my brand new granddaughter, all 6 pounds of her, right? She was a little tiny thing when she was born, under 6 pounds, like 5.5 pounds. And I'm sitting there holding her, and I'm like, this is it. Like, it clicked. I couldn't do it as a dad. I couldn't think of doing it as a dad, but as a grandfather, you're sitting there and you're holding her like, this is what the big guy had in mind. This is what he was talking about. A total helplessness. So guys, while I appreciate your patience while I was away, please know we made the best of it. We had our
So that's amazing. That's amazing. That description that he puts there, I did not have that realization as I held my my first kid. I guess it's different as, like, grandfather, right? Different stage completely. But I had the realization when my wife was pregnant the first time. I was like, oh, it's like, this is the way I feel about this child in the womb is the way God feels about me. Like, I already had things planned. I already have a name. I already have a room. I have things set up. I have things set up for you. I am taking care of you before you even entered this space. I have already been taking care of you. And that was my realization. So for him to talk about the helplessness, that's very, very interesting, because, and I'm young in being saved and everything. 4 years saved in November, I think like November 11th or something like that. But there is a passage where I think it's God's power. It says 2 Corinthians 12, 9-10, God's power says, but he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. And that came to me as he was talking about that. I was like, oh, that's what that is. He's right. Talking about coming as a child, it's a baby. That's what makes the most sense. And his power is made perfect in your weakness, because when you're a baby, you are at your weakest point. There's nothing you can do, and you are perfect. It just, I don't know, that those two things lined up with me so quickly. I was like, because God comes to you when you're weak. He doesn't come, he strengthens people, but his weakness, or your weakness, I should say, is where you see him work, right? When you come and everything's tattered and like you just can't do anything, that's where he works. And that's where you get that's where people come to God. Like that's when you realize, when you come in weakness. Whereas if you don't, then you have pride, and then eventually pride, you end up falling, and then you'll come in weakness, hopefully, right? I don't know. This is very, very interesting. Very interesting. That's what came to mind. Very, very lovely to hear that from Baron, that realization. And also for me, what I've been doing recently in prayer, especially like with my weight loss journey, I bring everything to God. Like, a lot of times we only bring like certain things to God, but I bring business to God. I bring everything. So I bring the weight loss journey to God. And what I started doing is I started saying, carry me. I don't ask for strength and courage and all that stuff. I stopped doing that. And I said, I just say, care. I give it all to you. I need to be carried. And it's the exact same thing he's talking about, like with the infant, right? The infant is doing that, right? The infant's not voicing it, but the infant is showing that there's nothing I can do. Like I put it all in your hands. You have to do it. And that's what I've been doing with prayer. And it's been working amazingly because it takes the glory away from me and it takes the stress away from me and it strengthens the relationship and the faith and the trust. So anyway, that's it's good. It feels really good. So I was just reminded of that as he was talking about that. Really, really good stuff, man. Really good stuff. Really, really proud of him. Although he kind of did. He had 8 of them, right? He did a bunch, kept the blood in the body. That is the main job of a father. You keep that blood in their bodies. And then eventually you get to be a granddad. So he's done a lot. And I'm definitely proud to see. That's incredible. We're at a point in like the podcasting independent news space where you will see people become grandfathers in front of your eyes. You're going to see them become fathers, have more kids, tragedies, triumphs. You're even going to see people retire. You're going to see people go, I'm not doing it anymore, guys. I'm 67. I'm done. Like you're going to see all of that. It's such a weird moment we're at where we get to witness this guy whose podcast is like blowing up and you're seeing him become a grandfather. And then you're hearing about that experience. It's wild to see. Wild to see. So congratulations, sir. Hopefully you are enjoying sleep or rest. He's probably up by now, honestly. But I mean, yeah, hopefully you're doing a little better, a little more rested and soak it all in. It's the best. At least I know, with my little baby, 6 weeks or something now, 6, 7, 5. It's the best. It's the best. Anyway, you see people become FBI directors. Yeah. And then you see them fail, right? You see them fail. You see, like, literally, Kash Patel, that's a great example. You see him on podcasts. First of all, he's working in the government. We should have all known not to trust him just from that. He's working in the government at different levels. I mean, check out the administrations he worked within. We should have known from there, but he's working in the government. Then he's out, quote unquote. I don't believe any of it now. It's like saying that you're ex-agency or ex-bureau. No, I don't believe you. But you see him out of it. Then you see him on podcasts. Then you see him saying, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Then he actually gets into the position. Then he actually makes it. He gets confirmed. And then you watch him just do a terrible job. And you're like, wow. Like, look at that. Bongino, same thing, right? Like you see him and you're like, whoa, this guy's doing a bad job. Wow, this guy turned on all his morals. Wow, this guy threw away all his integrity. That's interesting. Then he goes back to podcasting. You're like, wow, this is clearly AstroTurf. That's weird. A real podcast turned to AstroTurf BS within a year? That's interesting. How'd that happen so fast? He looks like RoboCop. Wait a second. Has he always been RoboCop? He was built by the government and he's actually RoboCop. We're having incredible realizations. Incredible realizations, guys. It's crazy, So anyway, my opening statement. I'm not Baron here, guys. My opening statement ends with, I think Bongino was built by the government and he's actually really RoboCop. I think that's a real thing. That's how my opening statements go. We're a little less Adidas and a little more tinfoil over here, guys. Okay. Anyway, but let's move on because he does cover some things here. And I like what he gets into. I know that we already covered this, but at the same time, I do like to hear what he thought of all this because I was like, am I crazy? Maybe this is not a thing. Maybe this doesn't matter at all. But then he gets into it, how crazy it is, who gave the order to actually, tear up a crime scene. So let's jump in here really quick.
before I play it, let me just go through the options. One option would be like the UVU president. The UVU president might have a good reason to excavate it and say, hey guys, I don't need this on my campus. Classes are going to come back in on Monday. People are going to be walking all through this area. They're going to be retrieving their belongings. They're going to come. I mean, it's just natural when something like that happens. You want to come look. I don't need the grass there. I don't need people walking all over it. We can put the fencing around it, but someone might climb over it. And so the university president, that's a good option. Maybe the division of facilities and construction management for the state of Utah. I mean, actually, I really like this about Utah. They have a state department that handles all the college campuses, not really all the state property. I like that because you have somebody with ultimate responsibility to beautify and maintain all the state-owned buildings in the system, in the state system. I like that. So you might think that person would have the authority. Well, that's an option. So university president, division of facilities, construction management, maybe someone with the state outside of the construction system, someone potentially like the governor, maybe. Well, let's hear what he has to say, because this was an interesting touch straight from the mouth of a guy who worked on the project.
That was all it was. I'm going to go help these guys. He's asking for help. They want to do it right. He framed it in the sense that, hey, we want this to be done right. So that's why I showed up. So, I mean, to do pavers correctly, you over excavate, you get rid of the top. So
you do?
You do 100%. Okay. You want to get a good base. And these guys had kind of, there was two guys in charge and a ragtag crew. One of the guys was in charge of a state-owned facility in American Fork. And the other guy was in a maintenance groundskeeper on a facility in Provo. And these are the two guys I'm corresponding with. The first guy, the second guy that I hadn't talked to on the phone basically said, hey, look, we're not talking to anybody. We're not saying anything to the media. He says, this is above our pay grade. The FBI and the state, the governor and the FBI, that's what they told me. The governor and the FBI said they want this done by Monday.
Why does the FBI care what happens to the university campus? Seems a little out of the chain of command, if you're asking me. The FBI is a law enforcement agency based out of Washington, D.C. that handles federal crimes and federal investigations. That's the role of the FBI. So if you have a murder in your hometown, I don't know where you live, but assuming you're one of our 75 to 80% of people here in our audience that are inside these United States, I live in a town outside of Nashville. If there's a murder in my local town, the police chief will handle it. They have jurisdiction, the local police in the city. The mayor directs the police. So the mayor would be involved. The county, I suppose, has sort of overlapping jurisdiction within the county because the county is the sub-agency of the state. Cities are just municipal corporations. They're formed by citizens who get together and say, we'd like to pool our resources to provide some water, sewage, gas, whatever, roads, parks. So maybe the county would have some jurisdiction over a murder in my hometown. The attorney general of the state, perhaps, could take over the investigation. I think in most states, the attorney general has that ability to come in and take over an investigation. And that makes sense because some towns are small. You get a city of 500 or 1,000 people. The local police chief may not want to investigate the guy if he's pretty powerful or pretty popular in town. He'll ruin your life if you investigate him. So the attorney general might be able to come in. But one person who has no jurisdiction over that crime in all likelihood is the FBI. A routine murder that doesn't cross state lines, that just one person who's a resident of Tennessee kills somebody who's in my city, the FBI really doesn't have any jurisdiction over that. And even if they did have jurisdiction over that, the likelihood that it would make any sense to anyone observing the goings on, that the FBI would then come in and say, oh, and by the way, tear down the crime scene. Excuse me? Sorry, tear it down. But this is someone's property. This is a property here. We don't want to tear down the guy's house. He's murdered in his house. No, tear it down. Tear it down to the studs. Take it down to the ground. Put it on the foundation. Take it down to the slab. That's a really weird request that the FBI would be going to the owner of a crime scene, the state of Utah, and saying, I want this crime scene destroyed by Monday. This crime was committed on Wednesday. You have 4 or 5 days to get this bad boy completely destroyed. It's enough to make you wonder, did they have an interest in that? Beyond just, is this something that the FBI normally does, go around beautifying campuses?
I feel like it's not. I feel like that's not what they do. But I was wondering to myself, I'm like, am I nuts for thinking that this is weird? Because I don't know. For all I know, you could go to ChatGPT and say, how many times has this happened in history? And ChatGPT's like, hundreds of times. It's happened all the time. It happens twice a year, in fact. Like, I don't know. I was just going based on what I thought. I'm glad I am within the realm of the high IQ outfit, that this doesn't make any sense. It's what, and actually, you know what? I'll say it doesn't make sense. You know what? It's Monday. Let's just start it off right. It does make perfect sense. Because it's a cover up. Well, I'm not allowed to say it. Are you serious? Seriously? What else is it? What else do we call it? I'm not calling it other things. Okay? I don't know if I'm doing the charitable thing anymore. This is getting ridiculous now. They actually requested for it to happen. And then they got this guy and they threw him in there. And I do like what Baron was saying. If you watch the episode, then you know when he's talking about this guy who, did the paving and everything like that. He says that he doesn't think that the guy's like nefarious or, is really involved in it or like knew what was going on. I could see that, my real, conspiratorial side goes, everybody was in on it. Everybody who had anything to do with it was in on it. But, I could see where he's saying that because they would use a guy. They would use like a a construction patsy of sorts. They just threw him in there. They're like, here you go, big guy. And he's just like, oh, I just want to be helpful. The church has always taught me to be helpful, so I'm not even looking for payment. That was the part that threw me off. He was like, I'm not even looking for payment. You got together 6 guys. What are you talking about? That part made me think, oh, he's definitely in on it. But you don't even want money? You didn't even, that's weird. You didn't even want a paper trail? That's weird. What? You didn't want a paper trail at all? But Baron, more sensible. He brought me back to reality, right? So, yeah. Anyway, let's keep on going here. Then he gets into Charlie Kirk in the end of life documents. Now, this part I like a lot because he knows a little bit more about this. I'm at the age where there's some people getting divorced around me, Maybe he knows more seasoned parents and married people. Me and my wife don't know many. We're just we're on an island, so we don't know many. But I like what he has to say about this end of life documents because as you guys remember on Friday, I believe, we were analyzing what this could be. When Candace talked about the end of life documents, we were all analyzing what it could be. Could it be a trust? Could it be a change? Could it be divorce, as Baron's going to get into? What could this whole thing actually mean? What was he actually doing? Or was it a lie? Or was it a made up thing that wasn't actually going to happen? Baron connects Baron and Daisy, I should say. Always shout out to Daisy. Connect some very interesting dots. One dot that they connect, we're going to get into a little bit after. But one dot that they connect is that weird countdown that Erica is doing. But there's another thing that happened during that countdown. She was doing a countdown to like 9:16. You know what's funny about those countdowns? I've only seen in my life, because I, just my personal Facebook and stuff like that, personal social media. The only people I've seen doing these countdowns, straight up, the only people, and I've seen a few, are Masons. That's it. I know a few where you don't know they are, and then you realize the only ones I've ever seen do it online, the way Erica was doing it, are Masons. Because other people will tell you, hey, what's this countdown? They'll be like, oh, don't worry about it. I've seen this many, many times. But anyway, let's get into this little bit here.
This was a verifiable mansion. It's in one of the nicest neighborhoods in the entire country, frankly. A beautiful area of Scottsdale, which is a beautiful area of Arizona, which is a beautiful area of the country. This is a $5+ million house. In terms of the percentage of people in the United States who live in a $5.25 million house, it's very small. Well less than 0.1% of the country lives in a house like this. So you're dealing with a very, very beautiful house. It's got a pool. It's got a little guest place. It's got a little pool house. It's got a massive garage, lots of bedrooms, lots of bathrooms, living rooms. I mean, it's just the whole 9 yards. If you ever look it up on one of those real estate websites where you can sort of walk through the house, it's gorgeous. I mean, the place is fantastic. They sold this house in January, and they moved to
I want.
a condo.
I wonder if they did that because Charlie knew that some financial thing was happening. Now, I know he's building the case towards divorce, but maybe he was looking, he wanted an effort done in terms of where the money was going and coming from. Maybe he was looking at it and he's like, you know what? I'm actually going to pull back a little bit. Maybe because he knew what was coming, right? Maybe he was like, I'm stepping away from money. These people are really pressuring me. I've lost a couple of donors because of who I'm having on. And I got to get prepared for just losing a bunch more donors. Like that could be a thing as well, where he's just like, I know what's coming. I know the stance I'm about to take, and I'm slowly taking more and more. I know what's going to end up happening. So I'm just going to move it right on back. And I'm going into a condo. Like, that's it. Because it's like, if they had separate condos, that would say a lot more. But anyway, that's just my mind working as we're watching this. Let's go back.
And if you look at Erica Kirk's interview with the New York Times, this condo was something they owned before they sold the house.
Oh, and someone said, I imagine Erica would be pissed about it. Yeah, right. You move your wife into a mansion and then you pull her into a condo. She goes, oh my gosh, honey, is something going to happen to you? And you're like, what do you mean? And she's like, I don't know. Am I going to end up running your company? And you're like, huh? What are you talking about? I don't know. We're just in a condo. I'm pissed off. I don't know. So, something going to happen to you? And you're just like, my wife is getting real angry about being in this condo now. But that was Charlie. Charlie was kind of like, hey, I can go back to a tent in a desk. Like, I got the most views doing that, you know?
And she referred to it as kind of a way station between the house and the headquarters, TPUSA headquarters. Well, it's only like 20 minutes away. You don't need, ladies and gentlemen, a way station when you're driving 20 minutes. You don't need a stopping point. Like if you're at work and you have a building and an office and a really nice suite in that building, Charlie had like a third of a building to himself, a big, gigantic building that was his. If you have a building like that you work out of and you have a $5.25 million mansion 20 minutes away, you don't need a condo, $1 million+ condo between the two. That doesn't make sense. But that's what they had. That's what they had. They had $1 million+ condo in a beautiful controlled access condo facility right next to the Scottsdale Airport between their $5.25 million mansion and the house and his work. And then they sold the house. People typically only sell a house for 4 reasons. One is they're moving into a new house and they sell the house and then they move into the new house. That's option A. The other 3 are tragic: death, divorce, and disease. So from what we can tell, neither one of them died in January of 2025. So that's not why they sold the house. Neither one of them had a disease that we're aware of. So if those are the 4 reasons people typically sell a house: death, divorce, disease, and moving into a new house, and they didn't move into a new house, they moved into a condo, a substantial downsizing. So that's not why they did it. They didn't do it for death or disease. Let's just keep that in the back of your mind. Why might they have sold the house? Then you have, from the Jesse Waters interview, Erica Kirk explaining that the night before Charlie passed away, he did not sleep in his own bed. That was news at the time. We weren't aware of that. She shared that voluntarily, and I'm not sure why she did. It made her look terrible.
So everybody knows what he's talking about there. Charlie didn't sleep in his own bed, didn't have his ring on. He came home. She actually said, why don't you go sleep in Gigi's room? That's his daughter. Gigi was actually in the bed with Charlie. She said, oh, I just wanted him to get a good night's rest. So why don't you go over there? That's odd. I've talked about this before. You know, the only place I want to be, whether there's screaming or crying or this or that, I want to be in the bed with my wife. If the kid's there, that's amazing, great, fantastic. You know, let's all just be in here and go to sleep together as a family. I don't go, oh man, you know, I don't like you guys and I want to get over there, right? And she suggested it. You know, before Baron said all this, that gave me fight energy. You know, when you're upset at each other, You know, there are couples that will go towards that. You know, the old back in the day, like, go sleep on the couch. I'm upset with you. You sleep on the couch. I don't want you in bed with me. Yeah, you go to Gigi's room. I know there was 3,300 in the chat. I saw that and I was like, somebody better get this evil on me. Go ahead and share this out there, guys. Like the video, share it, please. Now there's 34, so we're okay. We're okay. We're in the clear. Don't worry, guys. If it just say 33 the whole time, can you imagine? So yeah, I thought it was fight energy at first, but it could have just been like, hey, you know, we're not doing this anymore together like this. We're not staying like that anymore. He had a disease, Erica Franzvi. His disease was not his wife. How dare you? How dare you? And he had no ring on. I know. So it's like you're taking your ring off. You're making sure to do it in front of your wife. Maybe he's walking around with it. Maybe to keep up appearances, he's keeping it on. But when you're in front of your wife, you're taking it off. And what? You're taking it off because it's uncomfortable? That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. Listen, if you're one of those guys that takes off your ring just because, it's like, I don't know. You get uncomfortable. What kind of ring you got on? What, you got a mafia ring? You got a big mafia ring with an emerald on it? What kind of ring you got? My rings, I got 2 rings on. I'm fine. I don't know. I don't barely even notice them. Sometimes I have to check. I'm like, oh, they're still there. Okay. I'm still a good husband. It's ridiculous.
But she said he didn't sleep in his own bed, but there was another little fact that she dropped in that interview. It was that he was not wearing his wedding ring or his necklace. Now, we were told he never took the necklace off or the wedding ring. In fact, most people who wear a wedding ring don't take it off. I mean, it's just on all the time. I don't wear one because I work out a lot. I hang on pull-up bars and rigs and lift barbells and dumbbells and kettlebells, and it damages your finger, damages the ring, damages your finger. I don't want to take it on and off and lose it all the time, so I have it in a safe place. If I get dressed up, I'll put it on. But generally speaking, I don't. But people who wear one wear it all the time. You don't take it on and off. Wedding ring, leave it on. Particularly men. But that night, he wasn't wearing his wedding ring.
So let's jump into the next clip here. So, it's building up a case towards divorce. Let him cook a little bit. Let's let him.
He wasn't wearing his necklace because she said he had to come back in before he left to go to Utah to grab his necklace and his wedding ring, and he did not tell her goodbye. Now, if I was going to leave for several days and Mrs. Coleman was asleep, I would not tell her get out of bed and make me breakfast, but I would say, hey, I'm leaving, taking off, love you, bye, and then leave. And you open one eye and I love you too, and then go back to bed. I think most people in a marriage are that way. But she tells Jesse Waters he didn't sleep in his own bed the night before. He was not wearing his wedding ring or his necklace that she gave him as a gift for his first anniversary. And he wasn't wearing his wedding ring. He had to come back in to get the necklace and the wedding ring. And he had to come back in because he wasn't in there. He was in another room. And I started thinking of that. And I started thinking of the fact that they sold the house and no one was dying and no one had a disease and they didn't move into another house. So I have those two things, and they're bothering me. They're bothering me about this case. They're just in the back of my head. They're constantly rattling around. Then I have that weird image I can't get out of my head of Erica Kirk doing that interview she did with Glenn Beck. It was a Blaze interview. I'm going to show you the scene. I'm not going to play it. I'm going to show you the scene. You remember this interview she did where she kind of got weird eyes? It was the first time we ever saw her weird eyes. It was when we noticed, I think Allie Top Files was the first one to notice his wedding picture had been removed from over her right shoulder. Audience left, stage right. It's where that scroll or whatever that is up there has taken the place. But in that interview, if you recall, she's looking around the desk and she said, well, Charlie just made notes. He was constantly writing. He made notes all the time. And then she picks up a note and she said, for example, here's a note he left. And it was in his own hand.
Let's see that note. Let's jump into that note because I should be able to find this really easy. He's saying the Blaze has a little bit of a thing, but if you jump on X, you actually circumvent that. Erica Kirk, Glenn Beck, because the platform that we all use here doesn't actually pick up on it. So the notes, I'll just write Erica Kirk, Glenn Beck, the note. Bet you I find it real quick. Let's see here. It might have got buried. That's the thing about X. As soon as something happens, things just get buried. Oh, is that Christine? Oh, perfect. And then we have Christine in it. It makes it a little bit of a different thing. Here, let's just check this out.
Podcast on December 11th, and she was sitting in Charlie's home office during this interview, and she was a little distracted now and then because apparently she hadn't been in there in a while. She was noticing notes and things, and she came across this one.
He wrote on everything priorities. It says family, children, legacy, kids number one, versus careerism, consumerism, and loneliness. It's interesting. It's interesting.
It is interesting for a few reasons. And the first that jumps out at me is that she is not on the priority list. Family really doesn't count. Family is about unity as a whole, not marriage, not her. Kids, obviously, isn't her. It does also say kids number one. Typically, in the land of Christendom, especially, your spouse is number one. It also jumps out at me that we are seeing a very authentic reaction. Clearly, she has not seen this before. And she is deeply struck by the word loneliness. First three things on that list are priorities. The last three are things he is trying to avoid. This kind of Erica Kirk just exposed her marriage to the world without even realizing it. And I don't think people picked up on this at all. If they did, I didn't hear it. I don't know why I would hear it. I don't watch Glenn Beck.
Don't worry. None of us watch Glenn Beck. Don't be silly. Don't worry, Christine. Christine, friend of the show. But there you have it right there. It's very interesting. It's almost like it's almost like he's predicting what's going to happen with Erica. He's like, hey, listen, you can do family, children, legacy, or you can have careerism, consumerism, loneliness. And it's like she kind of jumped over here with what she's doing right now. Yeah. Charlie was like, how do I make this one side the thing that I have going on? And she's like, okay, I'm just going to jump over here. Like literally just an example of how they all do the opposite of what Charlie actually was into or wanted or considered a priority, the constant rewriting of yeah, someone said Erica is on the list. Careerism, consumerism, loneliness. Yeah, that's where she's at now. That's why I say it's like almost like a little prediction, Anyway. That is the note that he's talking about there. And then also throughout the whole video, I'm sure you guys saw it. They're just pointing out that there's no ring. She's not wearing a wedding ring. I mean, God forbid. I don't know. I wouldn't take off the ring. I see some people in the list. They're like, some people in the chat, they're like, who sleeps with a ring and blah, blah, blah. Like, I do. And I work out hard. I just let it destroy my hand. I don't care. I just have deep, terrible calluses and it hurts. Like it hurts right now. I don't know. I just always have it. That's the way it works. I don't know. It's like if I had a sixth toe, I would just have it. I would just be like, well, that's how it is. I just have a sixth toe now. Like if it just sprouted out, I'd be like, okay, this is crazy. I'm terrified, but I'm going to keep it on. That's exactly what a wedding ring's like. I'm terrified. I'm married now. I'm terrified. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. Am I going to be able to be a good husband? And I just never take off the rings. Both of them. I never take them off. I never even consider it. I don't know. I work out. I do everything. Yeah. You just kind of six toes. Yeah. Getting married is like sprouting a sixth toe. Has no one ever made that example for you guys? I don't understand. This is the first you're hearing of it? It kind of is like that, right? Please go forth and call your husband and or wife your sixth toe. Tell them, I appreciate you like a sixth toe. I promise you it will go over well. They will not question you. It will only strengthen your marriage and relationship. You understand? Tell them Coach Colin sent you. Let's jump over to the next thing here as he talks about the countdown. I forgot about this, and I love that he brought this up again, because I think a lot of us forgot about this weird countdown. And actually, as we play this, I'm going to actually try and find that because it was really weird. Here, let's play this.
Durable power of attorney, if it's constructed right, they can sell your real estate. They can access your bank accounts. They can buy and sell stocks. There's a lot of things they can do. They can withdraw money. They can do it. They can act as you with a durable power of attorney. The healthcare proxy, they can kill you. That's morbid, not to be morbid, but they can kill you. Like they can pull the plug on you. They have the healthcare proxy. They're making healthcare decisions on your behalf. So if you're planning to get divorced, you might want to update your last will and testament. You might want to update your healthcare proxy. But I can't think of any other reason you would want to necessarily update them, absent some major development of some sort. I mean, typically, if you're married with kids, you don't name the kids individually in the will unless there's some reason you're cutting one of them out. You just say, to all my kids, divide evenly, or put it in a trust and it's for their health, education, and welfare, some sort of trust that will take care of them. And then, the corpus at some point will burst and the money will be distributed to the trust, to the beneficiaries. That end of life thing was weird. Update the end of life documents. What if it wasn't the end of life documents? What if it was something else? Because I just thought of this while I was watching this. I'm going to play it on mute, I think, if I can. Yeah, this is interesting. So this was some sort of a countdown. See this here? This is her Instagram page, 10 days the way, September 16th. Well, he was going to sign end-of-life documents on September 15th. So what was September 16th? What is that countdown for? And why is her mom in it? When I just heard that just now, I wondered if that was the first day of her new life. Like, we're going to sign papers and it's just going to be my mom and me again after this on September 16th. Like, if Candace was right and they were signing papers on September 15th, September 16th would be the first day of her new life. If those papers weren't really end of life documents, they were end of marriage documents.
Someone said end of wife documents. I mean, such a dad joke. Such a dad joke. Real brother Gigi. Such a dad joke, Just so a dad joke. I mean, it's so good too. I mean, come along with me, honey. We got to sign these papers. Got to get you out of my life. I've heard weird things about you. Candace Owens has actually been looking into you since way, way, way before any investigation happened. She's actually been telling me things about you for the past 2 years. We talk all the time, in fact. Imagine that. Imagine that.
I don't know. I just thought that just now while we were looking at that. Because I remember that being about the same time, September 15th, September 16th. And then Daisy found what she believes is their last public appearance together.
So we'll get into that in a second. Going back to this countdown, a lot of people were covering the countdown. As you can see here, let me blow this up a little bit. For those of you, oh geez, that's a little much. Okay, there you go. 17 days from the Erica Kirk countdown, as they were walking among the pine trees. Think Back to the Future. Some people get so deep into it. 9/16, greater than 10/3, 17 days. If you don't count 9/16, greater than 17 days would be 10/4. If you do count the 16th, greater than the 17th, 17 days would be today, right? And then that person posted this on October 3rd. Now, this is some of what she was doing. It wasn't just that one picture, right? This was another thing. It was like, I am 9/16. And she was doing a countdown. It was really weird. Somebody just took a screenshot of her Instagram. So we have here, it just says, walk with us, walk the countdown with us, 9/16/2025. Right? And she had multiple posts like that. Baron showed you one of them. This was another one of them, which was weird to take another, just walk with us. And she kept on doing this weird countdown. Oh, I should actually show it to you what I'm showing you, right? Right? So it was very weird. Walk with us, this countdown. I am 9/16. But then as Baron was talking about that, I started thinking about the countdown and I was like, what happens 9/16? There's too many verses. Like just now I thought, like, is it some kind of verse? Is there a verse that I'm unaware of? Bible verses that are 9/16. Let me see. Like I have no idea. I don't think so. That was just a thought that came to mind now. I'll tell you what my main thinking was as I listened to Baron talk about this morning, right? I'll look into that a little deeper after, but what came to mind was the fact that she was announced. I'm not saying this is actually what happened or anything, but it was that she was announced to be the CEO of Turning Point on September 18th. So I would imagine it was actually decided before September 18th. Perhaps it was actually decided on 9/16. And that would be us walking the countdown. Somebody says, who's walking behind them? That's a good question. I don't know. Someone to film them. Who knows who that could be? Maybe Mikey McCoy. Mikey McCoy was doing a lot of filming for Charlie all the time. So maybe Mikey McCoy was there. Hips just a shaking, He is walking. Whoever it is, they are walking. And Mikey McCoy has been known to have quite the walk, right? So perhaps that's what happened. I don't know. That is what came to mind. I was like, where would like when was she announced? It's probably around the 16th, because then a couple days later, Andrew Colvette has her on and they're like, we have Mikey and his wife. Yeah, it's Mikey and his wife. That makes sense because they were with them all the time. That does make sense. They were actually friends outside of all the stuff, the work stuff. I guess I don't actually know. I assume just because Mikey's such a great guy, you'd want to be friends with him outside of the work stuff. You'd be like, come on a walk with me and my wife and get behind us and film us for a little bit. We love you, Mikey. But that was my thinking. Maybe the 9/16 thing was the fact that she possibly, allegedly, perhaps was going to be announced CEO. And it had nothing to do with Charlie passing away, because Charlie probably just would have been on board with it, just so you guys know. I'm not suggesting that she didn't know anything about what was going to happen. Charlie was probably like, I can't wait until you take over this company, honey. He probably was. Everybody knows that's what he wanted. He wanted that more than anything. Right. So that's probably what was going to happen. But that was my thought process in terms of what this could be. And then what was he gonna? There it is. Let's bring this back up.
Prior to Charlie being taken out. Now, there may be a more recent appearance, but we've been unable to find one. This was at the Young Women's Leadership Summit at the Gaylord Texan Resort and Convention Center in Grapevine, Texas, back in June. This was taken on June 13, 2025. June 13, 2025. I don't know why. It's a weird getup, but whatever. She's dressed in this pink flowy thing. I haven't seen where they were together after that. Not seen in public together. He has a podcast. It's right in their hometown.
And not only was that the last time, but it was actually a weird time. If you actually remember, if you actually saw it, there was some odd in that appearance there is a lot of Charlie, just like in the appearance when they're in the studio together, where Charlie's saying, you know, there's a moment where he's like, if you just want fun talk, we can just have fun talk. But he's like trying to get real about, you know, getting married young and not waiting. And then Erica chimes in because she got married a little older. Charlie Kirk and Erica Kirk on stage. And you could tell there's like a little bit of tension. He's like, all right, if you just want fun talk. And then she says this whole thing. She's like, well, just wait, because, you know, the whole thing about it. This. Yeah. No, this is not it. But it's a very interesting back and forth that they have. Because he's just like, you know, don't wait. He's like, get married soon. He was talking about facts. He wasn't just kind of saying like, oh, get married young because I'm Christian and that's what I believe. He was actually saying, he's like, there's a higher, he's like, there's such a low percentage of women who will get married past 30. He's like, so don't wait until you're past 30. And she did. So she was like, and it's okay if you do. And Charlie was just kind of like, you're kind of undermining what I'm saying. And then he actually says like, oh, if you're just looking for fun talk, he's like, we can just have fun talk. And, you know, and everybody laughs because it was funny the way he handled it. But it was a very odd little bit of tension that they had. I'm not finding it. I'll find it another time. But somebody said here, Isaiah 9:16, those who guide this people misled them. Those who guide this people misled them. And those who are guided are led astray. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I got to look more into that. I'm sure there's a bunch that you could link it to, right? And then 145. What did you say? Coach, I listened to 145 of the briefing. Jen Psaki on the 24th, she says how much money it took to take out Thomas Massey, 33 million. This is not a coincidence. Oh, yeah. Yeah, of course. Of course it took 33 million. Yeah, it makes sense. that makes perfect sense. I'm not even surprised that it was 33 million. I'd be surprised if it wasn't. If they were like 19 million, I'd be like, 19? That's a weird number. What's 19 mean? What's 19? Is there a 19th degree? What are they talking about? And somebody said, yes, he looked annoyed with her. Yes, if you can, I can't find the clip, but if you remember it, he looked annoyed, and he was just, and he put his microphone down. He was just like, okay, like if this is what we're doing, like you're just telling everybody they can just get married like older. He's like, fine, but it's really not what he believed, and there was a whole lot of that not really what he believed being said by her in front of him. Someone said, when did the countdown start? That I'm unsure of. Now, if I go back to this person who was talking about it, let's go to the other person that was talking about it really quick. Let's see if I can actually find them. They said 17 days from the countdown as they were walking among the pine trees. So if we go back 17 days, that would be October? No, that wouldn't make any sense. So if we go back from 9/16, you go back 17 days, would we be talking about October 30th or October 31st? Or sorry, not October, August, sorry. I think around then is when the countdown started. Either way, it's weird. No matter how you're going to slice it up, it's weird because of what actually ended up happening. All before that, the whole timeline that we've broken down so many times of him going on Megyn Kelly, of him going on Ben Shapiro's show, of him having Josh Hammer and Dave Smith on to have a debate. You know, Hammer gets wiped out by Dave Smith. Tucker Carlson on, you know, him saying people are attacking his moral character. He's having town halls where kids are allowed to discuss Philadelphia freely and their criticisms of it. Him going on podcasts and saying I should be able to criticize a government, especially a government that my government is funding, you know, all of that happening. And then I guess August 31st, out of nowhere, she says there's a countdown starting. Just saying. you know. And then if you go to the Megyn Kelly interview, right? If we want to even jump down that rabbit hole really quick, when did the Megyn Kelly Charlie Kirk interview happen? Right? Let's jump in there. Let's see. Megyn Kelly, Charlie Kirk. Let's see. When did that interview actually take place? Let's see the date of it. No, that's just a clip. I don't want that. I want the actual interview. What is it, gone? Is it gone? How is it gone? What? You think that would be the top interview you'd see, but it's not. What? It's all just clips. Where's the full interview? Whoa. Did she delete the interview? No way. It should be the top thing that we see right now. And it's not. Ooh. The top thing that we're seeing here, from what I know, there was a whole interview. The top thing I'm seeing is just a 5-minute clip. What is that about? But maybe I'll be able to click through and find the full thing. Let me just see here.
Okay.
Right. 9 months ago. This is August 6th that this comes out. Do they have the link to the full interview? It couldn't have been. It was not 5 minutes. Interesting. Okay. But we will say that this was released on August 6th. So we can say that around the time they did the full interview was probably, I don't know, we'll say August 3rd to August 6th, because they're pretty quick with their clips, especially Megyn Kelly's channel. They're pretty quick with it. So when right, she started that countdown just a couple of weeks after Charlie said what he said. Do we need a reminder of what Charlie was talking about?
Hey,
Right.
like when tell me I'm wrong. Cool. Tell me if I've got my facts wrong. By the way, on the Epstein thing, Naftali Bennett says he wasn't an Epstein agent. We have to be pursuers of truth. They've denied it. Fine. Let's keep digging. Okay, fine. But the thing that I think is being lost is, like, on some part of the population, you can scold them into silence, right? But if I have any deviation of a purity test, any deviation whatsoever, such as hosting a focus group, right, Megyn, with a bunch of our students that went viral, having Dave Smith or Tucker at my event, it is all of a sudden, oh, Charlie is he's no longer with us and all that. I said, wait a second, what do you mean? What does with us mean exactly, right? I'm an American, okay? Like, I represent this country, and I don't even understand that paradigm. But Megyn, I think you would agree with this. I want to make sure we really zero in on this. Personality types like you, myself, and Tucker, the more that you guys privately and publicly call our character into question, which is not isolated, right? Megyn, it would be one thing if it was one text or two text. It is dozens of texts.
Yes.
Then we start to say, hold the boat here. And to be fair, some of my really good Jewish friends are like, that's not all of us, it's all, but these are leaders too, though, right? These are stakeholders, right? And so, look, I'm afraid, because again, I want civilization to win. I want the West to win. I don't want the Islamo-fascist barbarians to storm the gates of Jerusalem. I want the holy sites protected. I believe in the Holy Land. I love that Jesus walked on water there and rose from the dead and preached in the Mount of Beatitudes. Like, I feel the connection to Israel. But at the same time, simultaneously, when the hostile reaction is that now Megyn and Charlie are enemies,
Right.
boy, I'll tell you, like, you're not gonna, I wouldn't say lose, but you will weaken and just basically deflate two of your strongest advocates if that continues.
He was about to say lose. And that's a step too far. He's about to say lose. So we can ration that probably 2-3 weeks later, the countdown starts. And then by the time that 9/16 hits, she is CEO. So there's that. And oh man, you have no idea. When I see this, I'm just like, oh, he was so close. He was so close. He was so fed up. He was so close. I'm telling you, this right here, if he had just gotten past September 10th, I'm telling you, we would have saw Charlie Kirk on Candace's show, and it would have been incredible. That is what we would have saw. Because what he's saying to Megan, Candace would have been like, yes, my friend, beautiful. I understand. You've lost how many donors? I get it. Don't even worry. I can talk to George. George can help you. George can help you. There's always people over there that want to donate to you. Don't even worry about it. Oh, she could have helped him. She could have helped him so much. She could have helped him so much. I'm telling you, we were so close to it happening. So close. And I think they knew that too, which is why he's gone. You know? Anyway. I'm telling you, man, we should. I got to revisit that interview. You know, Zach Costello and he's been talking about revisiting things. I remember we were talking about at the same time revisiting certain interviews. That's one that has to be revisited, and I'm shocked and kind of pissed that I can't find the full version of this interview. Megyn Kelly, Charlie Kirk interview. I'm writing all the names right. I'm putting it all out there, right? What is this? Did I find it? Oh, I did find it. Okay, good. Good. I'm going to let you guys see it too, if it uploads. Let's see. Oh, wow.
Hey, everyone. I'm Megyn Kelly. Welcome to the Megyn.
Okay. Is this the one? So it's Schellenberger first? I don't know if that's how the interview actually went, but we have Charlie Kirk from 2950 all the way. Beautiful. Yeah. So this is, I guess this is it. So it's like a nice hour-long thing. And yes, this was 9 months ago. And yes, it was October 6th. From the time that they actually did it to the time that they actually posted it, I would probably say that was maybe a day or two. So we're looking at them posting this around August 4th. So that makes sense. Okay. Well, make sure to keep this. What do I do? Save it, watch later. Okay, perfect. All right. So we're going to revisit that. For sure. Anyway, going back to Granddad Baron. Let's get into the last thing, which was just like a joke. I think it was a joke. You know, Baron has his funny side, right? Let's check this out.
And the only time I ever think I've seen her show real emotion.
Oh, let's slow that down a little bit. Oh, no, it is slowed down.
This is again from Project Constitution. I stole this from his ex. His watermark's on here, so it's not like I stole it too much. It's the most emotion I've ever seen Erica display. There's been a lot of questions about, well, she's not acting like a grieving widow. She's laughing at emojis. Oh, look at the emojis. Look at the little thumbs up. 5 days after he's dead. Oh, hat sales, merch sales. Oh, everybody's weirded out by all this stuff. And we can't quite figure it out. We don't quite know what it is. We sort of are struggling trying to identify what's happening here. And it sure looks like a lack of emotion. And then we finally find a video where she shows real emotion. And it is, well, I'll let you be the judge of what the emotion's about. If you have trouble hearing it, I'll tell you what it says.
My husband, as tradition, would donate his entire paycheck back into the organization. I am following suit. It is my honor and deepest pleasure to pledge my entire paycheck back into this organization.
We found her emotion. We found her emotion. Her emotion is when she has to donate her entire paycheck.
Oh, what a jerk.
Back to the organization. That's when she cries. I'm telling you, we just figured it out. Now, she'll laugh 5 days after he passes away. She'll laugh about emojis. She'll brag about hat sales. She'll use the first opportunity that she speaks publicly on his death, all in white. standing beside his chair, up talking. She was up talking there, by the way. It's my great privilege, my honor to donate my entire paycheck.
Oh, this is ruthless.
Back to the organization.
This is crazy.
But she cried about it. Like that, I think that was genuine emotion. This is the first time I've seen genuine emotion from
this guy.
Dr. Kirk.
This guy.
This is the first time I've seen Dr. Kirk have any real emotion. And I believe she was torn up. I think she was crushed. I think they told her, you should do this. And she's like, oh, you kidding me? It's like $500,000 a year. For 5 years, that's $2.5 million. Erica, honey, darling, your husband did it. You should do it as well. And then she cries. So that, ladies and gentlemen, was real emotion from Dr. Kirk.
Jeez, that's hilarious. I didn't realize that. I've never seen that. I never saw that clip before, that she had to give up the paycheck like that. And that's when she got upset. She was like, guys, I was going to add this to the 10 million I just got. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? That's kitchen money. I was going to build a kitchen with that money. Do you know how much kitchen I could build with that money? Do you know what kind of island in my kitchen I could have? What are you guys doing to me? I didn't sign up for this. I talked to BB and the president for hours about this. None of this came up. They said more money. Mikey's like, shh, more money for Turning Point, Shh. She's like, I don't care. I am Turning Point. Aren't I Turning Point now? Isn't that the deal? I'm Turning Point now. Anyway. That is amazing. Baron, ladies and gentlemen, the grandfather extraordinaire, Baron Coleman. Oh, man. But glad to have him back. Definitely glad to have him back. Can't wait till Candace comes back. Don't know what she's going to cover. Don't know what she's going to get into. I actually have a little bit of an idea of what she's going to cover. Should we get into that now? Maybe we should. I do have a bit of an idea of what she's going to get into. Let me see here. If I can just grab this and pull it up. Candace did say there was something that we should all be reading and that we should all know about. So it's a Candace whisperer. I don't know. I think this is something she's going to want to talk about. I could be wrong. You know, but let's see here. Let me see if I can find it. Oh yeah, Gary from Paramount Tactical put out Charlie's letter to BB and then right away got called out for the fact that he put out a shortened version of it. And then John Mappin, who's close to Charlie and Candace, put out the full version of it. It's like 7 pages, though. It's like 7 legit pages. We'll see if we'll get into that. But this is something that Candace was talking about. Let me show you guys. I think she's going to talk about this. Someone said, search his body language at the end is hard to ignore. By who? Just that term in general? I get a little. I like the body language things, but sometimes it goes a little deep. Do you see that maybe Kay's buying her story anymore? Yeah. Well, I haven't seen Zach Costello's video about it, but I did see Megyn Kelly talking about how she was with the Hodge twins, talking about how actually I could pull that up too. Hebrews 9:16 talks about making a will and how death makes it effective. Really? Write that verse out for me. Let me see it. I'd love to see that. Let me jump in here. Show y'all what Candace was talking about. Let's see here. But yeah, Gary got called out right away. See, Gary's calling me a criminal now. It's actually amazing. Unprompted. I didn't even say anything to him. He's like, this guy's a criminal. I'm like, what? Who are you looking up? Thinks I'm in real estate. He thinks I'm 24 years old. He thinks I'm a criminal. I'm like, you're looking up different people. He's just like, here's the black guy. Is he wearing a hoodie? Okay, that's the guy. That's the guy. It has to be. He's a criminal. Okay, we'll see. He's treading into dare I say defamation territory. Oh, it's weird. Very weird. But anyway, Candace is talking about this. Stop what you are doing and read this and share it. Okay. So it's this post. It's kind of breaking stuff down. Let's get into this post. Right. Okay. So two things, and just to show you who it's from. This woman, Gabby Loves USA, former Pentagon and White House correspondent, ex-contractor, loves the country, but not the gov. Owner of Lock and Liberty, if you guys know who that is. Home to wearable American history. Okay. Never heard of this lady before, but everybody was sharing this. So let's check this out. So you may be wondering two things. What happened to the president and who is he listening to? It's number one. Number two would be, why does it feel like the internet isn't real and engagement is fluctuating based on particular topics, quote unquote? I think I can help answer both of these questions, right? There's a company called Vine and Fig Tree, a VFT. So I'm going to be saying VFT a lot. We're not talking about Valhalla. We're talking about Vine and Fig Tree. Okay. So VFT is a pro-Philadelphia organization with ties to the administration. Okay. Earlier this year, VFT was at the White House meeting with Sebastian Gorka. Shortly after that White House meeting, I was contacted through a third party and asked to script write for VFT. Okay. The individual who contacted me is publicly very Christian and widely perceived as America First. I was told the script would be used to create an AI-generated video on behalf of the White House, specifically for NSC and Sebastian Gorka. Okay. Somebody said Gary syndrome, big forehead. Okay, lock in, guys. They told me, yeah, we have to do this on behalf of them being the administration, because they don't want it to look like it's coming from the White House. You know what I mean? I mean, it worked for them and Nick Shirley. Okay, so this is what she's being told. It worked for them and Nick Shirley, kind of touching on Nick Shirley possibly being an op, or at least having deeper ties to the administration than people think. I would lend that to probably being true solely for the fact that Nick Shirley was just posing with Howard Lutnick. And if you're someone who likes to expose fraud and lies, then of course you would be looking into Howard Lutnick and that whole thing. A little bit of an island boy from what's been said and the pictures that have been seen and the emails that are coming from him saying he wants to go to the island. But I digress. Nick was pictured with him, whatever. I was given a Dropbox link containing research, polling data, internal comments, and strategy material compiled by VFT and a third party involved. Inside the Dropbox were 7 folders. Through these documents, I learned more about this organization, about what this organization actually does. The reports monitor major conservative and dissident right accounts, frequently framed those accounts as vulnerable to or participating in foreign influence operations. The reports include information regarding Nick Fuentes, the Hodge twins, Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, Jackson Hinkle, Ian Carroll, and Mario Nawfal. Now, if you don't know that name, he's big on X. You don't see, he's on YouTube a little bit, but not, he's more on X. You see him a lot on X, just to name a few. They also collected polling and data and response data surrounding Joe Kent's resignation from the administration. In another report, they argue this sounds a lot like the type of thing that Candace was talking about when she was showing the email that was allegedly from the White House, where they're talking about Erica. When they were talking about Erica, and Erica actually, the I just want to go home post being amplified and use surrogates, et cetera, et cetera. It sounds a lot like the same type of thing, but I don't know that. That's just coming to my head as I talk about this. In another report, they argue that distrust surrounding Charlie Kirk's passing was mostly due to Americans falling for Russian, Iranian, and Pakistani propaganda networks. Very interesting. Anyway, let's keep going here. In that same Charlie Kirk report, they state this represents an urgent national security threat and demands a whole of government response on par with cyber attacks or terror. Right? Very weird. I'm getting such a weird feeling. Not a weird feeling, but like a dark feeling as I'm reading this. You know? You always want to know about the inner workings of things, but then when you start hearing it from someone, and again, this we have to say allegedly here, but I mean, it's just like, ugh, right? Like, let me just read that again. In another report, they argue that distrust surrounding Charlie Kirk's passing was mostly due to Americans falling for Russian, Iranian, Pakistani propaganda networks. What? You sure? Maybe it was their eyes. Maybe they saw, Candace talked about it with Hunter Biden. She was like the whole faction of anyone who could do anything in the administration were all good friends with Charlie Kirk. And everyone thought, man, this is going to be nuts how quickly they're going to solve this and how voraciously they're going to go after this and leave no stone unturned. And then you saw the president, he made 2 comments on it. And one of them was linked to a comment on the ballroom. And it was like, what? And then he never spoke about it again. Don Jr. was asked about it by Megyn Kelly. And he basically just gave a roundabout answer, and that was it. Kash Patel was covered in honey, cross-eyed, dazed and confused because he's so in love with his country music sensation girlfriend. He just said, see you in Valhalla. And that was it. And that was it. They were like, case closed. And if anybody wants to talk about it further, just know that you hate America. And that was it. That was it. You're a hateful person. Bigot. And that was it. The internal comments attached to these reports are what stood out the most. They talk about going after Fuentes, stating undermining his Christian identity is probably a good idea. Very weird. Okay. And I mean, this just goes along with all the coordinated stuff that we've actually seen take place. I've called this out many times. So many people have as well. They contemplate getting, quote unquote, Matt Walsh or Michael Knowles to publish on behalf of VFT. I wonder if that actually happened. Remember, she's not talking about something that just took place like today. She's talking about something that took place a while ago. So I wonder if they actually did, because there were some weird posts from Matt Walsh. I remember there was one in particular where he was calling out Candace Owens and it was kind of out of nowhere. And you're like, what is this? Like, why is this happening right now? Right? Michael Knowles, he didn't really, but Matt Walsh definitely did. And it was out of character. It didn't even make sense. The thing that he was talking about was, and I don't mean Candace, but just the situation he was talking about in terms of Erica and defending Erica, it was almost beneath what he usually talks about. You know, the stature of the things he usually talks about. He's a culture war guy, but he's not exactly a drama guy. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he just kind of, had himself in the drama. It was weird. And speaking on Candace the way he was. And then he was supposed to go to that Catholic event and Candace was going to be there speaking. And then last second, he dropped out and just sent a 30-second video. It was all very weird. So I wonder if they got him. They suggest collaborating with NCRI, founded by Joel Finkelstein, a multi-million-dollar organization that tracks that type of speech, negative speech on social media. Another internal comment weighs in on how they will advise politicians based on their data, which also compiles info surrounding J.D. Vance's 2028 run. What was said here, allegedly, of course, is there is a definite way to use this in our favor. Tell politicians that there are 2 wings of the party. They don't overlap. The majority lies here. And this is where you should be if you want to get reelected. Okay. And this is what they were telling politicians. Apparently. Makes sense. We saw somebody else kind of go against this. Thomas Massey, he's gone. Everybody else has kind of just rolled with it. They're all safe, right? Everyone except for Boebert. I don't know if you guys know Lauren Boebert. She actually started campaigning for Massey, and now I saw the president say that he wants her gone and that she's a terrible American, et cetera, right? The documents also discuss burner accounts, burner profiles, burner ad accounts, AI-generated interview style videos, audience personas, troll content briefs, engagement testing, ideological audience segmentation. If you're wondering whether the White House is actually listening to VFT, it's worth reviewing the White House's latest 16-page counter-terror strategy touted by Gorka. Sorry. So this is the whole thing here. I don't think this is the 16 pages, but it's just part of it. Let's see. Let's actually click through here. Now, I know a lot of you won't be able to see this, so I'm just going to read out the highlight parts here. It says the MAGA America First split is real. 68% of respondents believe America First and MAGA are now two different things. Yeah, definitely. And that's the thing about this. This checks out. Like, this makes sense. Despite J.D. Vance cultivating a broad tent coalition, he is rejected by large parts of the coalition. 32% of respondents agree MAGA and America First are two different things. Then we go a little lower. Tucker Carlson is perceived as more honest than Nick is, of course, who is perceived as more honest than Candace Owens is. Interesting. That's very interesting. Should watch a little closer, I think. Tucker is seen as an honest critic of foreign policy by 47% of respondents. Nick is seen as trustworthy on politics by 40%. And Candace is seen as an honest report of facts and stories by slightly under 30%. Supporting Christian values, playing a larger role in public life is more important predictor of these influencers' popularity, and foundational for Nick. Supporters of this statement are essential for Candace Owens as well, though to a lesser magnitude, and also serve to expand Tucker's base. Philadelphia skepticism is structural within this audience and not driven by religion, specific influencers, or political ideology. Even among respondents who disagree with certain influencers, skepticism of Philadelphia was high. Interesting. Very, very interesting. And that's just the first page. There's a whole bunch of this. So the reason Candace wanted everybody to read this, because this is like the nuts and bolts. This is like the nitty gritty. Like, it's all fun and games when you see Graham Allen come and he can't even look anybody in the eye. And he's just like, oh, she's a liar. She's a liar. And I'm telling you guys, she's a liar. And, well, what can we say? Evil and demonic. We're true Christians here, right, guys? When you see that, that's fun. But when you start looking at like how allegedly, potentially, they're prompted to do this kind of thing, it gets very dark. It's very, very dark. Let me just see here. This is so small. I'm like at reading. Like, look how close I am, guys. I'm like this close. Like, the screen's just out of view. I'm in reading glasses territory, guys. This is small, but still. Commented, what do each mean? Is there a way to use this split in our favor? If we split the data based on people that believe they are MAGA versus America First, what does it look like? Okay, full disclosure, I did not write these questions. Okay, so it's like someone going back and forth. So it's really getting into the nitty gritty. This is just the first page. I want to kind of move on. 63%. Nick, 59% trust Tucker Carlson, 40% trust Candace Owens. So they're really watching these three really close, right? And then you have the subsection of each, right? Like I would probably be a subsection of Tucker, a subsection of Candace. Probably people, again, these people would consider like, Myron like a subsection of Nick Fuentes. You know what I mean? Philadelphia skepticism is nearly universal. Trust in influencers is irrelevant to the feelings on Philadelphia. Among the respondents who trust Tucker, Nick, and Candace, 86 to 93% agree that Philadelphia has too much power and influence. Among respondents who reject all three influencers, 73% still feel that Philadelphia has too much power. Whoa, that's interesting. Christian value, and I feel like this is just too specific and too well broken down for this lady to be making this up. That's just me. I just had to look at my screen for a second. I'm like, oh no, was I not showing you guys this the whole time? But I'm good. Christian values have zero correlation with Philadelphia support. Christian values supporters, 75.1%, and non-supporters, 74.5%, show virtually identical levels of Philadelphia skepticism. Christian values explain zero. He says negative zero. I'm just going to go zero variance in skepticism of Philadelphia, meaning knowing whether or not someone promotes Christian values in public tells us nothing about their support of Philadelphia. I would say that's true because you see that on the left and the right. And not to say that every single person on the left is, not religious. I was going to say godless. I don't want to be so rude. It's not that they're all like that or atheists, they'll say. Some of them have deep faith, but a lot of them don't. Right. And they still feel the way they feel about Philadelphia. They still feel the way they feel about that entire situation. So this does really check out. I just want to make sure here that I forgot the coffee link. I saw somebody actually bought a coffee. I completely forgot the coffee link. My apologies to all the coffee goers, though you should have that link just locked and loaded by now if you are a coffee goer. Okay. Just put that out there for you guys. My apologies. You can always remind me anytime you want to see it. Just remind me. Somebody will let me know. Someone in the chat will let me know when it happens. So we go to more respondents here. And again, this is just a mega America First split is real and politically costly. So this is just them going through everything. I want to go through the part where this is actually can you follow up? What do you think the research? Hopefully Friday. Good morning. Wanted to quickly check in and see if you had any updates. Let's talk on a call. I'm really sorry. I had hoped this would be done by last week. Essentially, we have a report to go to the admin and take content from there. And you know what else makes me think that this makes sense? The weird thing that the president did to Candace Owens, where he posted that picture, because everybody was like, that picture seems so weird. It seemed like such a weird thing for him to do to Candace Owens out of nowhere. It just didn't make any sense at all. I don't know. It's really weird. Really, really weird. So let's see here. Charlie Kirk assassination. So this is just all these reports. They got Tate here. They're doing reports on Tate and his tweets and what actually happens. And I would think, and I'm not going to say for sure, but I would think this is how they actually recruit somebody. They look at somebody, I'll just go with, there's this one of their bots. So she's showing where the bots actually come forward. This whole account, I guess Patriot Paul is a bot account, perhaps. Okay. We go here. VFT was keen on going after Tucker Carlson in their scripts, but also wanted to plug Dan Balzerian. Here's an X script below suggesting Balzerian is funded by Qatar, plus the types of scripts they wanted. The topics are from last November and include Cuba. Here's the thing about this lady. She's saying she did this Gabby lady, but also you would think if she was doing work like this, they would be like, hey, you got to sign an NDA before you get started on this. You would think. But they didn't. But for some reason, at the beginning of this whole thing, and I can just scroll right back up to it, she says, who prompted her to do this, says she was approached by someone, right? The individual who contacted me is publicly very Christian and widely perceived as America First. Why don't you tell us who that is? Why don't you tell us who it is? I mean, if you're allowed to say all this, you might as well just take it a step further. Anyway, little excerpts on the visual. This is the whole breakdown, what they're trying to do. And I believe this. I believe that this is actually happening. I watch the coordinated attacks happen constantly. I want to see the part where they talk about Ian Carroll. Here's a snapshot of them evaluating Ian Carroll. So on something 28th, Candace Owens aired a YouTube episode, 1.6 million views, accompanying 3 some odd million views, aligning with RFK being blackmailed by foreign actors. Oh, I remember this. Influenced by their public statements and policy. These unfounded accusations were rapidly escalated by influencer Ian Carroll in a March 29th post, and received 11.6 million views, generated 28% total engagement, chatter mentioning RFK and blackmail, as displayed in the time series graph below. Chatter peaked on March 29th and quickly trailed off. So this is them actually like assessing Ian Carroll. It's very interesting, And if this is really going on, for sure they've done this with Baron. For sure they've done this with Baron. That's why all of a sudden Baron became the thing. Like they would pop up when Baron would say something. Baron would have back and forth with Blake. As soon as that started happening, they're for sure looking at what he does. For sure. Without a doubt. So, is there anything more to this? She says updates from Nick Fuentes. Here's a snapshot of a Signal conversation involving the administration. You see what I mean? It's like, name everybody. You're posting all this stuff. Okay, so this is already something that we've seen before. So this is the thing that Candace wanted everybody to see. I hope she dives. You guys weren't even able to see the last part because I did it. Oh, I did it again. I can't believe I did it. Every time I celebrate not doing it, a second goes by and then I do it. I mean, it's just crazy. You guys at least saw this, right? You saw this when I was talking about Ian Carroll. Come on. I hope you did. Anyway, I was just going through there just to see the last of it. But I think this is something that Candace talks about. I hope she does. I hope she goes deeper into it. I hope she does a full breakdown to give us a real, vivid understanding of what this is. And yeah, so that's the thing she wanted us to all stop and read. I saw a few people post this. I guess I should share it too. There you go. But very interesting stuff. I don't know. That's what I'm thinking in regards to Candace. So hopefully I did her a little justice there, just a bit. But and this clip is ending at what? Oh, 1 hour 33 minutes. That's not my fault, guys. That's not my fault. Okay, I didn't do that. Okay. Anyway, let's jump in here to Tulsi Gabbard. We're going to play a little bit of Valhalla VFT. He had a pretty good breakdown of this whole thing. But first, we're just going to go through Tulsi. So Tulsi resigns. Some people are saying she was there too long. I don't know. I don't know if she was there too long. I can't tell. I think she was there a good amount of time. If she really wanted to make a difference, then obviously she's going to stay as long as she possibly can. So I'm not going to sit here and say, hey, she was there too long. Maybe she had a plan. Maybe she didn't. I don't know. But all I do know is that her office got raided for these files that had to do with MK, which is on this channel, we call it Mortal Kombat Ultra. So she had files towards that and towards John Kennedy. The agency came and raided her office. She's the DNI. They came and raided the office, took the files back because it was their files. But she's allowed to have these files. She's allowed to do what she did. It's not like she broke any rules or anything. She's allowed to go in and say, hey, can I see these files? Right? Sometimes you have a small brown guy who's cross-eyed and covered in honey, who's playing country music. Sometimes he stands in your way and says, no, Joe Kent, you can't look into any foreign connections here, get out of my office, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes that happens. But other times, like when Tulsi did it, they say, here you go. Here's your files on Mortal Kombat Ultra. And you're on your way. You're off to the races, looking into some of the most terrifying stuff available. So that actually happened. And of course, even though I'm talking about this, prayers for Tulsi and her husband, Abraham. I didn't even know she had a husband named Abraham. I knew she had a husband. I didn't know. I've never seen the guy before. Heard Joe talk about him. I've heard her talk about him with Joe, but never knew who the guy was. Never put a face to him. She says, today, with humility and sincere appreciation, I share the below letter with the president. It has been a profound honor to serve the American people as DNI. She always gets the short end, doesn't she? She goes into the Democrats and they're like making her co-DNC chair. And then they figure out she has some morals and they're like, yeah, you're a Russian agent. And then she goes, after a long time, she's independent. And then there's both sides saying, you're a Russian agent. And then she goes over to the Republican side. She finally gets in. And then out of nowhere, the peace president is like, I'm going to blow up Iran. And she's just like, oh my God, she can't catch a break. Then all of a sudden this happens. And now she has to step out of the position, but we'll talk about it more. So she says, I am deeply grateful for the trust placed in me, for the opportunity to be DNI for for the last year and a half. Unfortunately, I must submit my resignation effective June 30th. So not quite yet. My husband, Abraham, has recently been diagnosed with an extremely rare form of bone cancer. Oh man, when I hear extremely rare and bone cancer, I'm like, damn, that sucks. Because that's not good. That's not good. He faces major challenges in the coming weeks and months, and at this time, I must step away from public service to be by his side and fully support him in this battle. Abraham has been my rock throughout our 11 years of marriage, standing steadfast through my deployment to East Africa on a joint special operations mission, multiple political campaigns, and now my service in this role. His strength and love have sustained me through every single challenge. I could not, in good conscience, ask him to face this fight alone while I continue in this demanding and time-consuming position. While we have made significant progress in the Office of Director of National Intelligence, advancing unprecedented transparency and restoring integrity to the intelligence community, trying to. I recognize that there is still important work to be done. I am fully committed to ensuring a smooth and thorough transition over the coming weeks so that you and your team experience no disruption in leadership or momentum. So, with love and aloha, Tulsi Gabbard. So, that is what she's had to say. Who is stepping in for her? Let's actually see that. Who is replacing Tulsi Gabbard? I already know that it's this Philadelphia first dude. I already know that, but I figured I'd check anyway. Aaron Lucas. He's acting as DNC. So they haven't actually got okay. So key details about him: former agency chief of station, served as National Security Council, first term, confirmed by Senate, July 2025, publicly aligned with the president's views, including critical of Russians. Okay. Assumes. Okay. So he's going to be in place of her. I'd love to know. Here, let's just move this so I can actually write this untethered. What is his view on Philadelphia? Let's see if anything pops up. Just a quick look into. Okay. Highly respected. Okay. So they won't tell you. I love when they just won't tell you. Because I know there's a stance. He has to have a stance. Everybody has a stance on it. So you're just not going to tell me his? Google? It's not even Google. Anyway.
A little bit about him. Arkansas native, graduate of Texas A&M, George Washington University, a seasoned intelligence professional and former CIA chief of station. What does that confirmation process look like for her successor?
Well, it's the kind of resume that would qualify one for this position. But right now, given absolutely monolithic Democratic opposition, with the possible exception of Senator Fetterman, now you have Republican divisions. You have a very unhappy senator from Louisiana, Bill Cassidy, who just lost his primary because of the president's opposition. And you have Senator John Cornyn, who may lose his primary because of the president's opposition. So you've got some unhappy and divided Republicans alongside pretty much unanimous Democratic opposition. So confirming anybody in a really important position might be difficult from here on out.
All right, Byron, thanks for joining us on the breaking news.
So that's the gentleman right there. Obviously not the gentleman speaking. It's the gentleman that you see right here. That will be the person. Let me just really quick. So we'll see, but that was just a little impromptu. I just wanted to check it out really quick, see what he was into. Okay. Intelligence, just looking into it. He's scheduled to start his role 11 months and 7 days after he started his job as principal deputy. Included date July to June 11/7. Okay. Oh, wow. Now I'm not sure about who this guy is. I'm not sure about who this guy is at all because of this. You know, we got Loomer. Loomer's actually saying this guy's bad news. That means he might actually be good news. Okay. But let's move on with what we were talking about here. So, like I said, she got raided. This is very interesting, this part right here. So her offices got raided for these files, right? Jesse Waters is going to talk about it. Then I'll tell you a little bit about this.
CIA just raided Tulsi Gabbard's office. Agents hauled out dozens of boxes, files on the JFK assassination and MK Ultra, the CIA mind control operation, which she was in the process of declassifying. Today's whistleblower said it during his deposition, and Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna confirmed it moments ago.
The reason why this is troubling is, A, there was an executive order that the president had directed the full declassification of JFK, but then also to the MK Ultra files. The CIA famously has said that, you know, all documents were released and other documents had been destroyed. So these are allegedly those documents that apparently never existed.
Can the CIA overrule the president?
So this is Jesse Waters. Look at his face. He's having a good old time, right? All right, real big smile and everything. But then he deletes this. I shouldn't say he's not running anything, but his YouTube channel deletes this segment of him talking about this. They walk it back like crazy. They say, no, never mind. And it was a weird thing to walk back. It's like, clearly this happened. Why would Jesse Waters not raided? They just came in and took stuff. Yeah, exactly. They just came in and took the things that you wanted to have. That's all. And they may have kicked in the door as they were doing it, you know, politely kicked in the door. But Jesse walks all this back. It's off of his YouTube channel. Fox walks it all back. Fox acts like it never happened. And that's a weird thing to have happened because all of this took place around May 11th, May 12th, May 13th. So like halfway, you know, just a couple of weeks ago, all this happens, you know, about a couple weeks ago, almost. All this happens. They walk it all back. They say she got raided. Then they walk it all back. Then some time goes by. And now she is actually stepping out of the position. Now, obviously, I'm not going to sit here and say that she's making up anything about her husband. I'm sure that's very real. But that may have been just a way of going out gracefully. Maybe she doesn't want the crazy hellstorm Philadelphian rain down that will happen if she came forward and said anything like what Joe Kent said. Maybe she was like, you know what? I was going to step away anyway. I see what's happening right now. I'm just going to, you know, my husband, I have to listen, President, you know, Mr. President, nothing to do with you. You're doing everything perfectly. It's been an honor. My husband needs me. I have to go. That would be a better way to step away. Otherwise, you get the Joe Kent treatment, which, if you don't remember, was him saying he can no longer do this under this leadership, didn't like what was going on with the war. And then all of a sudden, every single Zio Ranger popped up saying like, wow, he's a leaker. Wow, are you talking about Joe Kent, the leaker? Wow, he should be investigated by the DOJ. Wow, why hasn't the FBI kicked in his door? He should go to jail. What's the penalty for treason? Like, they just went off out of nowhere. So maybe she didn't want any part of that. And she was like, listen, I know how to step away from this. I've dealt with these crazy people a couple of times. Oh, buddy. Somebody says Trump's going to have a third term. You know how many videos? You know how many videos I have talking about Trump having a third term? And I'm smiling like a moron. Oh, I'm celebrating like an idiot. Oh, you know how many of those videos I have? I'm not even going to go find them for you. You go find them yourself. There's at least 4 videos I've made about this guy's third term and why it could happen and why it would be great. Oh, your boy's dumb at times. Got hoodwinked, got swept away. Oh, man. And, you know, I wasn't like super happy, but I was like, you know, is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Who would you rather see in office? You know? Oh, man. I was like, an American regime where a guy takes over and steps in like Putin or Netanyahu. I'm like, that's great. If it's Donald, your boy's dumb. Go watch those videos. I'm dumb in those videos. Anyway, I can always admit it. It was absolutely ridiculous. I was like, ooh, man, third term. Oh, wow. I was like, third term. Woo. Third term. Oh, that's when he takes over Canada. Oh, praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Takes over Canada. ICE agents all over Canada. Let's go. Let's go. Oh, I was so happy. What, are you kidding me? Anyway, someone says it's not going to happen. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Let's see, man. You don't know. Ballroom might be built by then. Ballroom's built by then. You know, the ballroom's going to be bulletproof and all sorts of things proof. And there's a whole bunker underneath it. You might just pop up underneath the bunker. I'm not coming outside to see any of you. I'm not doing it. I don't want to do it. I like it inside this ballroom. It's very nice, and I'm going to stay president, okay? No elections are going to happen. There's so many servicemen surrounding this ballroom. You're not going to take it from me. No, you're not. I put $2 billion of taxpayer money into this ballroom, okay? All the tech guys love me. They love me so much. A lot of them would marry me. Tim Cook especially. I don't swing that way. He knows that. But he'd still ask if he could. I'm not coming out of the ballroom, and I'm going to be president. We're going to have a third term. Perhaps you forget there was another president had a third term, and I'm a much better president than that president, okay? We got a war. There's a war going on, okay? I saw Zelensky do this exact same thing. I watched Zelensky do that. I gave Zelensky billions and billions of dollars. Joe gave him billions and billions of dollars. I saw him do the same thing. No votes. We're at war. Bye-bye. And then the YMC music comes on and he just starts dancing. It's him and Pete Hegseth, Kash Patel. President, 4 more years. 4 more years, ladies and gentlemen. You built my ballroom, you dummies with your red hats. You built my ballroom, and now I'm not coming out. I don't care. I have holograms. I have AI. I don't have to come out. I have food. I have Diet Coke. I have regular Coke. I like Diet Coke, but I like regular Coke more. I have both. I have McDonald's down here. I have aliens down here. I have vampires down here. Okay? There's lizards down here. I don't have to come out for anybody. You understand? It's going to be a great time down here. Me and Pete have been doing great things. I make Pete dance for me. Are you dancing, Pete? Look at him over there dancing. He's a nice man. He's a nice man. We're at war, guys. Too bad. Too bad. 4 more years. Maybe 8. Maybe 8. We'll see if I can get a heart transplant. Maybe 8. You know? Oh, I used to love that. Why do you think my impression's so good? Love that guy. Are you kidding me? love that guy. Why do you think my impression's so good? What you think that just happened out of nowhere? I worked on that thing. I worked on that bad boy. I've never worked on an impression like I worked on his impression. Anyway. Tulsi, make sure you tell everybody it was an honor. Okay? Make sure you do that for me, okay? If you don't do it, I swear I'm going to make life very hard for you. You thought the lefty lunatics. Oh, it's so hard to do that impression. You thought the lefty lunatics could make it hard for you. I'll make it so much harder for you. Tell everybody you wanted to leave, okay? I can't have another person getting fired. If they see me firing another person, they're going to start to talk, Tulsi. Do you understand? You understand? I'm glad you do. Aloha, as they say where you're from. You know? Anyway. Who are we talking about? Tulsi Gabbard? Okay. So slowly, they started to walk back everything, right? The analysts started saying it's misleading. Facts. The facts are claims are being circulated alleging that the DNI, Tulsi Gabbard, was raided by the agency. These claims are completely fake, baseless, and unsupported by any credible evidence. Out of nowhere, they started saying this. Now, I'm not saying Fox is the end-all, be-all of journalism. I'm not saying that. But something like that, they know what to say and what not to say. I'm not going to say they're given marching orders. Tucker Carlson did, though. Tucker Carlson said that about all mainstream media. For them to have that story and to say it on Fox's top show, and then it's fake and not real, I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. Doesn't make any sense, you know? I feel like I'm saying like Trump. You can't do that impression too long. It becomes a part of you. Honey, how are you? Where's my baby? Where's that wonderful baby boy? I've never seen a baby boy like this. He's like 10 pounds. He drinks so much milk. He loves milk, and he's big, and he's boisterous. This is my boy right here. You know, you get stuck in it. You don't want to get stuck in it, right? Anyway, let's move on. Then we have Valhalla talking about it a little bit, kind of echoing what I'm saying.
Trump has been asking cabinet officials in recent weeks whether he should replace.
Oh, goodness me. Okay. Well, I had a 2.5 speed recently. Oh, speed it up just a touch. Just a touch.
Tulsi Gabbard as the DNI, venting frustration about her leadership and that she shielded Joe Kent, a former deputy who undercut his rationale for war with Iran. Now, something else you might find interesting about this, Donald Trump has actually fired 4 cabinet members now in the last 2.5 months. And what's interesting about all 4? Oh, that's right. The only people he's fired are all women, as we can see. Now, good, bad, or indifferent on that, just a little bit interesting that he's wiping all the women out of his cabinet and not all the men that are a problem. Like, I don't know, Kash Patel, Pete Hegseth, Howard Lutnick, they're still fine. But anyway, I digress. Now, some other things to think about with Tulsi before we make our judgments on her on this one. Because again, for those of you who don't know, I used to be a huge Tulsi supporter. I wanted her to run as Donald Trump's VP, and then obviously have been very, very let down with her abandonment of her values that she's portrayed over the last 15 years. We've all seen that, obviously. But maybe she has been doing good things behind the scenes that we don't know about. Now, we have to go back to understand why Donald Trump really, really doesn't like her. It all stems back to almost a year ago in that first Iran conflict. Now, if you guys don't remember, Tulsi actually came out, testified before Congress that the intelligence community continues to assess that Iran is not building a nuclear weapon. Yes, the director of the National Intelligence herself said that.
The IC continues to assess that Iran is not building a nuclear weapon, and Supreme Leader Khamenei has not authorized the nuclear weapons program that he suspended in 2003. The IC continues to monitor closely if Tehran decides to reauthorize its nuclear weapons program.
Now, keep in mind that, again, that was the director of national intelligence. So America's own intelligence apparatuses had all come to the conclusion that Iran was not attempting to build a nuclear weapon. Okay. So obviously, Donald Trump's not going to be a fan of her saying that. And this was his response back when this happened.
So you've always said that you don't believe Iran should be able to have a nuclear weapon, but how close do you personally think that they were to getting one? Because Tulsi Gabbard testified in March that the intelligence community said Iran wasn't building a nuclear weapon.
What she said, I think they were very close to having one.
There you go. Donald Trump said himself, I don't care what she said. Which, again, pretty wild that you don't care what the director of national intelligence, who has access to all the information and intelligence coming from every intel apparatus in the United States, don't care what she has to say, huh? Okay, interesting. Well, we've all seen how that's worked out since. Yeah.
So I remember covering this when it happened, and I was like, well, then who's he listening to? Because she compiles everything, and there's nothing she doesn't know. She has access to everything. In that position, you have access to everything. You can just go from agency to agency and just say, let me see this, let me see this, let me see this, let me see this. And you can just keep on gathering and gathering all you want, because your job is to bring all that to the president in her position and say, this is what we have going on right now. In the whole IC, which is intel community, this is what we have come to as a conclusion for XYZ, whatever the president needs to know. Right. So then the question became, who was he listening to? That's before your boy started using the term Philadelphia. I was like, who could he be listening to? Who else could he possibly be listening to? Yeah, that was me. I was saying, who else? I was like, I'm just so confused. Who else could this guy be listening to? There's nobody else. There's no other intel that this guy, whatever. Someone's saying Trump likes guys. I don't think he does, but there is a Instagram page I follow where it is a very, very zesty man. And he takes voiceovers of the president and he sits around and does like very zesty like actions as he's like lip syncing. It's a crazy account. I couldn't find it for you right now, but it's very, very funny. And whoever said that, that's an account that you'll love. Go find it on Instagram. I'm telling you, it'll be the best thing you watch all day. It's absolutely crazy. So I was wondering, I'm like, who could he possibly be listening to? Now we have a good idea, but anyway, let's keep going.
Now, apologies up front. You have to listen to this voice. I know it sounds like grating nails on a chalkboard, but it's important to understand what's going on with the administration here.
For Tulsi Gabbard and her office. They basically said that Tulsi Gabbard is running something of a shadow operation from her office, that she is personally, I was told this, I've met Tulsi, I don't know her well. I was told she's personally actually very anti-Semitic, and she is heavily involved of the anti-Semitic influencer operations.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So this is the stuff that was forming around Tulsi the whole time, right? This is not a new thing. The whole time, all of these rumblings were happening all around her. So again, not to say that anything happened, not to say that she made up anything when it came to her husband, but it's very weird, all the things that have popped up. Very, very weird. I don't know. I think what I said before is the best way to step away from this and be unscathed, still be loved by the man who runs this administration, or at least be, tolerated, not be hated, not, he doesn't come up with a name for you or anything. Tinfoil Tulsi's going crazy. You know what I mean? Like she doesn't want anything like that. It was the perfect way to step away. I shouldn't say perfect because it's a tragedy, but you know what I mean? Rather than, having everybody come down on her and possibly getting investigated, and because that's already happened to her. She knows what this is like, just so everybody knows. I mean, I don't know if you guys understand, but she was put on a fly list. I remember she talked about this on Joe Rogan's podcast. She was just randomly put on, She was put on a list where she gets interrogated, she gets extra searches, she gets held up at the airport, and she was just like, I didn't do anything. She's already been interrogated for being a Russian asset. She's been accused of that by Hillary and all sorts of people. It's been crazy for her on the left and the right. So she probably is just like, I don't need this. I don't want this anymore. Like, I thought I could make a difference. It seems like they don't want to make a difference. Thought it was the complete opposite. Thought we were the dream team. If not, I'm stepping away. And I think she did it in the most graceful way she possibly could, which is usually what she does, you know?
Boxes, files on the JFK CIA mind control during his deposition. And Congresswoman
get interesting because, well, Jesse Waters deleted that off of his Twitter. Fox News tried to delete it off everything they had. Anna Paulina Luna walked it back. All of these MAGA shills that came out initially cheering it on immediately went, oh shit, this story is actually true. We need to run cover on it now. Well, that was just a week ago. And there's been some interesting developments in those JFK files since that story came out, which of course they debunked as having never happened. Well, we've now learned that those files that were supposed to be declassified for us, according to Donald Trump, will no longer be released. Yes, those files that the CIA definitely didn't come and take out of Tulsi's office that she was declassifying. I'm sure President Trump has a great reason for that. And JD covered it right here.
So do y'all remember when this guy?
Crazy. Absolutely crazy. So I don't know. I don't know what happened to Tulsi. Hope it's all for the best for her. I shouldn't even say that because, you know, her husband, right? Again, I'm not saying that story's made up. It's not made up, but it's like, oh, it's a sad thing. It's a terrifying thing, quite honestly, you know, as somebody who is a big worrier, that is stuff like that is just a nightmare for me. Just an absolute nightmare. But yeah, so that's what's going on with Tulsi. I'm hoping she moves on to better things. A lot of people are talking about a Tulsi Massey ticket for 2028. Again, if we're going to sit back and say, you know, is she going to do that while her husband's in that position? I don't think so. You know, I don't think so, guys. If he's still battling, I mean, praise God. I mean, I hear rare bone disease. I hear rare bone cancer and I go, oh man. They say that somebody said they definitely gave him that cancer. I know what you mean. I know what you mean, man. I definitely know what you mean. But, you know, praise God if he lasts until 2028. Praise God. Praise God. Because when I hear those things put together, I'm just like, it's like, do you get over that? I always thought bone cancer is something you just don't get over, you know? I could be wrong. I'm sure there's cases of it. I hope there is. So we'll see. But I don't know about the 2028 thing. I think if there is this coalition, and again, you know, going to what I've talked about Candace all of a sudden being where she is, you know, kind of politically homeless, still holding, you know, good conservative values, but being able to reach across the aisle. Tucker is now at this same place. Cenk from the Young Turks, he's at this same place as well. He's been making sure to go on as many right-wing, you know, conservative platforms as he possibly can, because he keeps saying he wants to give credit where it's due. Ro Khanna's doing the same thing from the left wing. If we keep seeing this, and now Tulsi's always been about that. She's always been about going where people are actually making a difference. So she's been on the left, right, and an independent. She's done it all. If all of this comes together by 2028, we'll see a Massey someone ticket. You know, I show you the Candace post all the time, you know, and I'm half serious, half joking. I show you the Candace post, but I don't know. But I think we'll see a Massey someone. Massey actually came forward just over the weekend and he said, I'm not ruling out a 2028 presidential run. So there's that. Yeah, Hassan. No. Hassan is not Cenk's cousin. Hassan is actually Cenk's nephew. Just so you know, Cenk from the Young Turks, it's actually his nephew. So, I mean, it's like kind of like a cousin, but not really. It's pretty nuts. It's pretty nuts. His nephew was subpoenaed recently. Should we get into that story? Do I have any clips of that story? Let me see if I have any clips on it. If I have a couple, I will definitely we can jump in here really quick. I don't even have any clips for it. Recently, I'll just tell you the story. Recently, his nephew got subpoenaed because he went to Cuba and apparently stayed at some place. I don't know what it is. I have to look into the story deeper so I can actually bring it to you guys. But he got subpoenaed, and it's looking like he's actually going to be made an example of in a pretty wild way. So he's been subpoenaed. There could be jail time, and it's all because he went to Cuba and did what Nick Shirley did, but on the left side of things, on the side of things where it's like Cuba's not that bad. So we'll see what happens there. We'll see how he deals with that. But let's jump over here really quick. Let me jump over here. Now, I just got to rewatch this really quick because a lot of people were telling me about this. A lot of people noticed this. I just want to look at it again. Let's see if we can really. People were saying how uncomfortable the majestic, beautiful Mikey McCoy was as these guys were kind of rewriting history on Charlie. So let's see this and actually look at Mikey McCoy the whole time, where we can see him.
A little bit more about the Thomas Massey loss and what's your thoughts on that?
I got so many thoughts. It's interesting, David. I've been accused. I think the organization's been accused. Erica's been accused of betraying Charlie by not coming out and endorsing one way or the other and not being more involved in that race. I will tell you, and I haven't said this publicly, but and I know this isn't necessarily a question, but it's an opportunity to address it. But, after the One Big Beautiful Bill vote, and I want to respect Charlie's privacy as well. It's always the tension in all of this. There's private conversations. Charlie was a fan of Thomas Massey, especially historically, liked him on war, liked him on being a budget hawk and spending. But he was pretty frustrated that Massey didn't vote in the affirmative on the Big Beautiful Bill because it was essentially the totality of President Trump's first-year agenda wrapped into one bill. And I will just say, privately, Charlie was really, really frustrated.
Yeah, I think that's the right way to put it. And I think he would have become more frustrated over the events of the past 9 months, which is we liked what Massey said. We liked his libertarian credentials. We liked him making the debt clock that ran on the little
and I still
lapel
like
pin.
Massey.
And there's so many things to like about him, but he has, especially over the past few months, he's become the number one, let's put it, Republican gadfly. Republican who gets in Trump's way, criticizes Trump, and not just on debt Trump is allied to, essentially. And I think Charlie would have been, as you said, very frustrated. He would have, and Charlie was not a guy who would feud publicly. He would have certainly been messaging Massey about that and being like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And he would have been.
Mikey's not even shaking his head. He's not even like in agreement. He's just kind of sitting there, which is very odd for Mikey because he's usually like a really receptive person to people speaking,
Let's put it, Republican gadfly, Republican who gets in Trump's way, criticizes Trump, and not just on debt or the war, but also on Epstein, saying that where there's this.
Like, it's just no movement. He's not moving at all. I don't even want to hear Blake say this over and over again, but he's just not even he's not doing anything. You can barely tell if he's breathing, really not into the conversation. I'm telling you, usually he jumps in, usually he's all smiles, usually he's there and knows exactly what to say. And then
bill where he voiced his frustration to me privately.
Not one agreeing nod from Mikey McCoy. Very weird. Very, very weird. This coming off Candace Owens revealing that someone said that Mikey McCoy was telling Candace or trying to get word to Candace that Andrew had to be looked into. This is pretty much his first appearance since since Candace actually said that. So someone says he's AI. What Blake and Andrew have become? They've become these two. They've become Joe Scarborough and Mika. That's exactly what they've become. Isn't that something? This is exactly who they've become. When I was listening to them talk, I'm like, who is that like? It's like these two. That's it. And of course, Blake is Mika. Of course. Andrew's Joe Scarborough. Of course. You know, they both wear a nice suit, right? It's a perfect comparison in my opinion. Am I crazy? I don't think I'm crazy. I think this is them. Married couple. Beavis and Butthead. That's what people have charmingly called Mika and Joe Scarborough as well. So we're all on the same page here. I'm just saying, you know. Anyways, just wanted to look into that really, really quick because yeah. Somebody told me. Somebody actually asked for this. They requested this. I'll look into it really quick. Do you guys know Cam Higbee? Cam Higbee was like the first Graham Allen. He was on the scene before Graham Allen was on the scene. Someone sent me this and they're like, you have to react to this. And I don't even know if I want to. This is crazy. So this is Cam Higbee, right? Zio Ranger to the max. And this is his appearance on Fox.
This is all intentional. It's Hamas's plan. The problem is that their plan is essentially to spread this propaganda throughout the internet by using...
Oh, goodness.
Sorry, guys.
All right, let's go to RA's. Cam, get yourself together there, my friend.
The launching of missiles from densely populated urban areas like the Gaza Strip, it essentially... They want people to see what is happening. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Ari, I want to get to this politically cynical move.
This is one of those things. There's no jokes for me to put in there. I don't know. This guy's about to throw up. He's like, oh, God. Oh, just, if you give me, oh, God. If you just give me too much Fed slop. Too much Fed slop, guys. I'm telling you, you cannot just be having Fed slop just all crazy like. You're supposed to have a spoon. You can't go at it with a ladle. You can't be tipping back the bowl when it comes to Fed slop and just gulping it in. You can't do that. You got to go slow with the Fed slop. No one gave this guy the memo. No one told this guy what was up. This guy almost threw up. Lori, she's just like, okay, get yourself together, my friend. She's like, you understand? We spread propaganda here. We have no time for this. Do you have any propaganda for us or not? This guy, wow. That was nuts. It was nuts. Someone said the Mortal Kombat Ultra substances are making him woozy. He's like remembering who he was. Oh, what am I doing here? Oh, why do I have a mustache like this? Oh, who did this to me? What's going on? What's happening? Who gave me this mustache? He's like, oh, why am I on Fox News? Oh, God. What am I doing here? I was a YouTube prankster. What's happening? What am I doing here? Oh, I'm going to throw up. I'm going to throw up. What'd they do to me at that party? Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God. It's all coming back to him like a Get Out character. You know the movie Get Out? Like one of those characters. He's like, oh, God. I was just in a frat. I was just at a Yale frat. And I woke up and now I'm on Fox News. What's happening? What's happening? This guy's having a meltdown. Are you kidding me?
Throughout the internet by using... Sorry, guys.
All right, let's go to RA's. Cam, get yourself together there, my friend.
The launching of missiles from densely populated urban areas like the Gaza Strip, it essentially... They want people to see what is happening. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Ari, I want to get to this.
This guy. It's like a scene from The Office. It's like if Dwight had got on national TV or something. Right? This is crazy. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh. How I would request for that to be wiped from the face of the internet. That's probably why he's doing what he's doing now. If you go check out Cam Higby, he's probably working his tail off, just trying to get in a position of power so he can purge the internet of that clip. Of course he's terrified. Are you kidding me? He's on Fox News, and they were like, "You're going to be a part of this whole thing, right, big guy?" And he was like, "Yeah, of course I am." And they were like, "All right, big guy, you better perform." And then he almost throws up on TV. Oh, of course he's terrified. I can't believe he even still has a position in the ranks of the Fed sloppers. It's insane. Absolutely insane. Holy. Anyway, somebody wanted me to check that out. There you go. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that with us. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. I don't know. I made a video about it. I'll just go over it quickly. I already made a video about it. What I realize on this channel is that there is a segment of people who love the live streams and show up for the live streams, and that's you guys, and I'm so grateful for you guys, right? But then I had a kind of a realization. I'm like, there's 300 and probably 300 and I don't know, 340,000 people who didn't sign up for the live streams, who didn't sign up for the 3-hour things and us going back and forth talking about mints and all this stuff. They didn't sign up for that. So I've been making videos that are for them recently, and I still do the live streams for you guys. But there was a video that I put out, I believe, over the weekend or maybe even Friday, where they were talking about JP Spears and Candace Owens were talking about these people being despicable. And it was in reference to Andrew and Blake pretty much rewriting how Charlie felt about Thomas Massey. Now, I know I was playing that clip before just to talk a little bit about what Mikey McCoy looked like in this whole thing, but JP Sears did sound off on them. He said these people are absolutely despicable. Candace Owens came in. She said they don't even have the decency to just rename the show, just like name it the Erica Kirk Show, which is not a terrible idea. Why not? I mean, it makes sense. Rename it something. Like, stop calling it the Charlie Kirk Show, or just leave the show alone. Just let it be a memorial to Charlie Kirk. So, I just had to show you guys that. And a lot of people actually sounded off as well. Blake actually tried to take to the internet to kind of push a little more of that same thing. Blake was like food for thought. And this was Charlie talking about Justin Amish. And this was like a couple of years ago where he was just talking about, he used to be one of my favorite congressmen, used to fight for liberty and the Constitution. Now he's fixated on the endorsement from the left and the media. He ignores the president's wins on every front. He says, Amesh, you let us all down. We will now primary you. You will lose. This was back in 2019. And this is Blake trying to connect what Charlie is saying here about this congressman to what has happened with Thomas Massey. And it's just gross what he's doing. I don't know why he's doing this. Well, actually, I do know why. He doesn't know why, apparently, but I know exactly why they're doing this type of thing. They have to rewrite everything Charlie said. And I actually found it very interesting. James Lee actually brought up the fact that this is now a registered agent, this show. And a lot of people, JP Sears, again, very in tune with the situation. So this is very true. He posted one of Dank's receipts. Dank's. I said it right. Okay. I usually say Dax by mistake. I actually said it right this time. He posted one of Danks's receipts on the whole thing. This is actually the registered number. So the show is actually owned. The registrant, Clockwork X or LLC, is actually a registered FARA unit. Okay. And that is their actual number. This is not just out there. And it was done. I believe that is such a hard line there, but it's the 11th of 2025. I think that's, I can't tell which month that is, but it was recent that they actually registered as a foreign agent. So Thomas Massey didn't realize it was true. It is true. He asked Grok about it. That's what everybody does. Leia Files chimed in. She said, yes, I can send you everything. It's dark. They're also a for-profit for making money off the name and likeness of a nonprofit, which is now called Private Inurement, and their nonprofit status can be revoked. Message me because this is the nucleus of it all, in my opinion. I would love to know what she's talking about there. I know what she's talking about, but I'd love to know what kind of research she has on it. Thomas Massey was asking if it was true. A lot of people had to because so many people comment whenever Thomas Massey does anything. So you had to search through it a whole bunch. But Grok actually did answer Thomas Massey. He said, yes, it is true. It's worth noting. The Charlie Kirk Show is a syndicate podcast and was on radio via Salem Media Group, Salem Podcast Network, which maintains its relationship with Turning Point and Charlie Kirk. Post his passing, the media officer is Brad Perskill. He owns and operates Clock Tower X LLC. That entity is registered under FARA. That is the number as of September 18th. There you go. So just 8 days after he passed away, they registered under FARA, just days after his passing, as a foreign agent for Philadelphia's Minister of Foreign Affairs. The $6 million plus contract covers strategic communications, media services, et cetera, et cetera. And it's so wild because even Blake and Andrew are like, news to me. I've never heard of this before. And, it's just wild. It's just sad. It's sad what's happening with that show. It's very sad because you could tell Charlie was about to move away from all that. You could tell, and now they're making him look like a grifter of sorts. Yeah. This person said they did not care about Charlie. They never did. They used him. And then they at best looked the other way when he was brutally taken from this earth. At worst, maybe more. The show gets maybe 200 views. It's embarrassing. This person then said, this is Jody Chase. Jody Chase making waves. Jody Chase. I'm not following Jody. I thought I was following Jody. Jody's doing some hard work. Going Max every day, it seems. Charlie Kirk loved Massey. Turning Point says he wasn't really a fan. Charlie Kirk was reportedly distancing himself from the pro-Philadelphia movement. Turning Point says he absolutely wasn't. Charlie Kirk was openly exploring Catholicism. Turning Point says he just liked the art. Charlie Kirk believed in the freedom of speech, even offensive speech. Turning Point says he didn't approve of Netflix jokes. Charlie Kirk said mothers should be at home raising children. Turning Point says he wanted Erica working around the clock as CEO away from her kids. At this point, what are we looking at? And JP Sears once again says something pretty ugly. So he's very tuned in with what's going on at Turning Point. He's voicing it a lot, and he should be. So it's wild. So I just wanted to give you guys a brief breakdown of that because, I know you guys are the live stream crew. Live stream crew maybe doesn't see the pre-recorded videos and vice versa. So I just wanted to keep you up to date on that. That's a real thing that is happening currently. People are really questioning why Turning Point is doing this type of thing to Charlie. And it's really sad to see, quite honestly. Makes me feel like Cam Higbee on Fox News, just want to, makes me have one of those feelings going on. Anyway, let's get to these coffees. Let's get to these super chats, ladies and gentlemen. Let's jump over here and check some of it out. Glad to have you guys with me. Love your show. Thank you so much, Jill. Appreciate you. I noticed you and DJT. Oh, I was like, who is that? Say 2 Corinthians when American Christians recoil in disgust and say 2 Corinthians. It's a real thing. I don't know. Whatever. I say what's in front of me. Like if I see the second, I say the second. If I see it too, I just say 2. Love the Buc-ee's hat. Thank you so much. Go to a Buc-ee's. Check a Buc-ee's out if you haven't been there before. Oh man, I was wearing my dad's sweater. We were in. Where were we? Were we in Memphis? I think we were in Memphis. Or were we in Cleveland? I think we were in Memphis. No, we were somewhere else. Maybe we were in Cleveland. I don't know. But I was in the elevator and somebody looked at my hat, and I had a Buc-ee's shirt on too. Well, a shirt that you can get at Buc-ee's. They're like, "Where'd you get that shirt?" It was the shirt that I have, a dad shirt. And I was like, "I got it at Buc-ee's." And he's like, "What is Buc-ee's?" And I'm like, "What is Buc-ee's? How do you not know what Buc-ee's is?" I'm like, "Are you crazy?" Then some other lady chimed in. She's like, "It's a big thing all in the South. You'll find it." I'm like, "Buc-ee's is, there's no Buc-ee's in New York? What? Really?" I guess you don't need it out there. I don't know. Should be off every highway. Isn't the 16th the day she took over Turning Point? Happy Monday from North Dakota. There's no Buc-ee's in North Dakota? What? Yes, that is what I think. I couldn't tell you for sure. It was announced on the 18th, and I believe that was via Andrew Colvette and her being on the Charlie Kirk show and announcing it. But I don't know when they actually decided. But the board voted. It was what they wanted. The board voted. She accepted. I would imagine that would be like a 2-day process, and then have her on the podcast and announce it, because they tried to announce it as soon as possible. Charlie seemed to know about the countdown because he was involved in the video. You would think so, but he's just in the video. Sorry. You don't know if he actually knew what the video was about. He could have known what the video was about, maybe. But maybe he didn't. Maybe he had no idea what the video was about. Maybe he was like, "What countdown? What's the countdown, honey?" And she was just like, "Don't even worry about it. I don't know. Like, who knows?" That's the thing. We'll never know, especially when it comes to stuff about her. Yeah. She's tight-lipped at certain times, absolute spewing vomit at other times. Kind of like the Exorcism movie, you know? Juicy Juice MC, how can the Gov charge itself in court? Oh, well, that's just a thing they can do, of course. We don't know them all, but we owe them all. That's true. I need to also understand the curtain video. What curtain video? Why did she post that? It stands out to me like the countdown video. Oh, the curtain video. Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. Do we have any other info on that? I don't know if people actually, I think Candace showed it as well. The curtain video. It was just a weird video. Curtain. How do you curtain? I don't know. I'll just write curtain. Let's write curtain. See what pops up. There's a video where she's standing at a curtain and she's like looking outside, and it's before the White House correspondent dinner. Let's just say White House. Let's see if I can find it for you. White House dinner. That's not it. 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 Yeah. No, that's the go home video. Why so sad? That's not it either. A lot of people, the reason I can't find it is because it doesn't stand out to a lot of people. I would love to know why it stands out to you. It's a very weird video, but it's not like a crazy video. It seems like she's just like a girl that's like, you know what? You're actually right. It does kind of stand out. Now that I think about it, I can't find the video. Maybe it's on her IG. Let's see. You know what? It does kind of stand out now that you mention it. The reason that it stands out to me is because she said she was going there to like really call some people out. Like, I'm going to call them out. All these people have been saying things about me. Oh, I'm going to give them the what for. And then the next thing you know, she's doing this weird curtain video. And no, it's not on her IG. No, it's not. I don't know where you'd find it. Yeah, sorry about that. But you're right. It does stand out a little bit, because why did she do that? If it was supposed to be this like fierce, like Game of Thrones, like she's that lady, I forget what her name is, the one who like becomes the queen of everything. She's going to go in there and she's going to have a little baby dragon with her that's going to breathe fire. Why all of a sudden are you doing like this like little glamour picture where you're looking at a curtain and then you turn and you look and you're smiling? Like, why are you doing all that? Maybe girls just want to have fun. Even girls like her, But I'll try and find that video. We should look at that video. There's a lot of revisiting that has to be done. What are the odds Charlie sent Candace somebody said this to me. Are you the person who said this? Someone else said this. A dead man's switch, and she's patiently waiting to release it so everyone crumbles before Tyler's trial. That is a very interesting thought, right? Because I feel like she's even said that about herself with certain information that she sent it around before. I think she said that around the time of like the whole French Foreign Legion plot. I feel like she said something along those lines. Yeah, you're right. What if Charlie did? What if Charlie told her? What if she had a text message that she showed from Charlie Kirk, and it was like October 2023. Are we to think that they just never spoke again past that point? There's no October 2024. There's no 2025, that they were just in constant communication as he was changing his opinion. How many people can he go to with this changing opinion? Can he go to Andrew? Kind of. Then Andrew's going to be like, hey, come on, let's stop all the nonsense, Charlie. We love that place and everyone in it, even the government. You know what I mean? You can't get a straight conversation with Andrew. Can't get a straight conversation with Blake. Who could you go to with that type of thing where you're going to go to Tucker? You know, you're connecting with Dave Smith. You can go to him, but you don't know him that well. You don't know if you can trust him. Who do you know you can trust who also had the same changing of opinion? Who's also really smart, who also you have said is the missing piece that God meant you to find, and the Iron Lady who will finish the mission that you've set out on. That's probably the lady you'd message about this whole thing. So I think you're on to something there. You know, I think you're on to something there. That could be a thing. I don't know that for sure. It would be lovely. It'd be a lovely way to, see all of this happen. I don't know, but it would make sense. Tell her everything. If anything happens to me, she sits on information a lot. Who's to say she didn't sit on information like Charlie messaging her and being like, I think they're going to get me. And she's like, okay, protect yourself. Don't go to the blah, blah, blah. Don't do this. Don't do that. And he's like, no. I told you a long time ago that I think that I'm going to pass away young and whatever happens, happens. But I want you to know XYZ, ABC. There's going to be a lot of people who are going to turn on me, but I need you to make sure that you set out and push with this information that I'm giving you. Could be possible. Could be possible. I would love that. Very generous. Whoop, whoop. I think Charlie found the money. I think Charlie found where the money was coming from and felt guilty for this excessive house. Also, Erica is a social climber and Charlie moved her out on purpose. Yeah, that's definitely true. I mean, she has proven herself, from what we've seen, that she is quite a social climber. So I definitely back that statement. And then also feeling the guilt. Yeah, it could be that. It could be like, we don't need this. And we shouldn't have this. It could be that aspect too. It could be guilt. It could be, like I said, it could be he knew what was coming. But you definitely don't do that for no reason. Like, why would you do that? If you could afford and you have this house that's like millions of dollars and you're Charlie Kirk and it doesn't seem like it's ever going to slow down, why would you sell it and then move into a condo? Why would you do that? Maybe, I guess if you're getting divorced, or I guess if you planned on getting divorced, right? Don't want her to get the house, so you sell it beforehand. Charlie was Scottish. Scottish man would do that. He'd be like, she ain't getting nothing. I'm going to throw this money back into the nonprofit. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's also interesting to note who is not on their target list. Yeah, that's another thing, right? With the Gabby's list, who's not there. I don't know. It is kind of weird because there's been so many people who have talked about Nick being an agent of sorts, There's people who've talked that way about Tucker and about Candace and about Ian. So it's interesting that they're the ones being really focused on, but they are also politically the strongest ones. Like, who's stronger? Like on the dissident right, like whatever you want to call it, who's stronger than those people? You know, and this was done months ago, right? Who's stronger than them? I don't think there's anybody. You can't compare Benny Johnson to any of those names. They're all stronger, and they're all smarter, and they all have better opinions, and they're all more entertaining. There's no one you can think of. Who else would go on that list? Right? Now you could say Baron, possibly. Now, but this was done months ago. Baron was still climbing when he when this list was made. So who knows? I like the Blake Bed. How do you say his name? Bednar's cross explanation. I don't know what that is. What is it? What is it? I saw somebody accuse him of being at UVU, and I've seen multiple people do this. One, it kind of looks like him, but the one that I saw recently, they were just comparing him to like a fat guy with sunglasses, and they're like, "That's Blake." I'm like, that guy has 42% body fat. Blake looks like he has 12% body fat. Like, what are you talking about? You know, as much as I'd love to jump on board, I was like, this person doesn't know what they're talking about. I find the raid of her office convenient, with Candace saying a week ago that her Macron case starts, and then bam, resignation. Huh. I wonder. Oh, I can't wait to hear Candace talk about Tulsi. I can't wait to hear her talk about that. I want to see what rabbit hole she goes down with that. We are being sorted. We are being sorted by the Creator. The main event is also here. The season is upon us. Cover your home on prayer and pray against the wickedness. So blessed to see the return of heaven. Thank you. Thank you. Very profound, but also terrifying at the same time. Hit the like. Siempre. Miss Chris Viz, where is your YouTube channel? I'm going to keep on. Every time I see your name, I'm going to ask about it. Where is your YouTube channel, ma'am? We're all waiting. We want to see it. Those of us that have kids, we're interested in to see if this is something our kids will like. So we're all waiting. Let us know when it's out there so I can support. Please and thank you. Let's get into these coffees a little bit here. The Massey Cathorn ticket, only Cathorn, because Tulsi actually wants the cure for her husband's cancer from the agency. Oh gosh. Brings back Joe Kent, dumps Patel, shutter the That's a funny way of saying it. That agency. Hey coach, I'm going to do my best to not write a book. Okay, let's just see. Before you say that, let's see what you actually did. Oh, okay. You wrote a short story. Okay. You wrote a short story. It's all good. Fine. It's no problem. Quick background. Oh my gosh. It all started when I was just a child. You understand? I was very young. I grew up. Okay, fine. Let's do it. Quick background. I grew up Mormon, but I'm also in Missouri, so there's a lot of Mormon history around here. Parents were divorced, so I also went to the Catholic Church with my dad. I always went to either Catholic, Baptist, or Pentecostal school. I also went to church with my friends every week, different evangelical. My mom left the LDS and basically made us convert to Philadelphian. I've been around the spiritual book. I've been around the spiritual block, you could say. Okay. I could go on forever about the people I've met, the things that I've had to do, the contradictions, etc. I always had questions and was always skeptical of things, which was a no-no. Obviously, I'm not a great rule follower because I've ended up with this crowd. Are you talking about us? How dare you? I've been following this since day one, and that church Philly connection has interested me. I've known the Masonic types and Philly share a lot of symbolism, but their core belief has a lot of overlap as well. The church has a lot of money, very business savvy, investments. Also, they also believe that they are the chosen people. They are very, very involved in ancestry, and there is belief that early that's possible. I've heard of that. I've heard of that stuff. Let's see here. I'm no expert, but I've observed a lot in 32 years. Please watch Johnny Harris's full compilation documentary. Okay, well, I'm just gonna say, I like hearing about your whole story, but you could have just wrote that. You could have just wrote that last part, and that would have been the whole thing. Okay. Anyway, I do appreciate you writing in. I do. Anyway, Susanna, Rosanna, Diana. Remember when everybody was in communication with Charlie because he needed encouragement and help with his speeches? Maybe they were all trying to talk him out of walking away from Turning Point or going public about his marriage and business issues, sending in preachers and rabbis to talk to him out of exposing the say the word. Come on. Shenanigans. There we go. I'm like looking at the word and it's just like nothing is diabolical. Now, this makes a lot of sense, actually. This makes a lot of sense completely because there was a Catholic priest that was involved. There was a preacher involved. There was a whole group chat of people. They were talking to him from the side and pulling him aside. Then there's the day that he's supposed to be meeting with Frank Turek, but somebody reports seeing him with someone who is very tall, like almost Charlie's height. Frank Turek is like Cash Patel size, very small dude. Very weird. Yeah, you could be right there. You could be right there. Talking to him about the divorce, talking to him about, leaving Erica. Now, I'm not saying that's what's happening, but if you're going to sit back and if you're going to, someone just said fire uploads lately. It's an email. I want to hit it, but I'm not going to. But but if he was going to leave Erica, there would be a whole movement of people who would be trying to stop him, right? The same way there was a little movement of people that tried to get them together, right? Tyler, her mom, etc. Interesting. I wonder, I'll go here. I wonder if you will ever know why they had to do a public having him pass away instead of just let him get a heart attack or cancer or something. I can't imagine the type of threats Erica used to get him to stay quiet until it was too late. Yeah, right. She's probably like, count it all joy. He'd be like, this person just said this to me. She'd be like, count it all joy. He'd be like, BB just said something to me. She'd be like, count it all joy. Yeah. Sad. Very sad. If you want to see a true grieving widow, look at Samantha, was this Bushett or Bush? I guarantee she isn't worried about merch sales and won't be taking over her husband by driving in NASCAR. There you go. 100% right there. Let's move this. Oh, this is extremely important. This is a lot. Yeah, I remember seeing this one. This is like, another dissertation here. This is extremely important. I know you don't like links, but please look up remote viewing Erica Kirk, Candace Owens by Exit Frequency. Exit Frequency. It contains extremely important information about Erica's true nature and a lot of Erica's shady past already, but this wraps it all together in a bow and extremely ugly and uncomfortable, and everyone needs to see it. Cannot hide from remote viewing. Remote viewing shows everything. Let's go. We know she is evil, but that's a hell of an understatement. She is legitimately isn't human. She has been body snatched, possessed by Varel eye worms. the elite gets. Oh, the Black Eye Club. Okay. With same with those two males that arose with her. Then it says brackets Baron. This isn't the kind of possession that goes away with holy water or Bible either. It's physical. Collectively, we have an opportunity to explore or expose her true reptilian nature. Let me just see here. Last part. She is in from where she is in public and TV and make history. Yeah, I don't know about that. I'll look into it, because it's a fun topic. But I will say I did have that thought process the first time I saw her do a speech when she was like beside his chair. I was like, that doesn't look like the same person. But I don't think it happened like at that point. I think you're saying that it happened way in the past, back when she was like in New York and like doing all that stuff. So I don't know. There is a lot that people who are social climbers and trying to be famous are willing to do. So I can't just say that this is nonsense. I can't say that. But I'd have to see what the remote viewer is actually saying. And, it's hard to also take remote viewing, not to take it seriously, because remote viewing is a serious thing. But I don't know. I have to think about that a little bit. But thank you. I will check it out. What did you say? Exit frequency? Let me see here. Exit frequency. I want to see if it's the same person, because I just watched somebody talk about remote viewing. And Erica Kirk. Let me see here. Exits. It's not even popping up. Exit frequency. Okay. Let's see. Is this the same? Oh, it's this guy. Oh, I've never seen this guy. Let me see this guy. I've never seen this guy before. This is the one? Let me see here. It seems to be a little bit of a thing that he has going on. What's really going on? This is about 2 months ago. So you like just found this video? Okay. All right. Remote viewing, Marjorie Taylor Greene. It's a little hard because you can't. From what I know, remote viewing, you can't go back into someone's past. From what I know about remote viewing, I don't know. It's an interesting topic, but from what I know, you can't go into someone's past and know what they've done in their past. You can only see where they're at. From what I know, you can see where they are. You can see them. You know where their location is. But I've never heard about people going into someone's past via remote viewing. I don't know. Anyway. Someone says, hola, Summer Breeze. Hola, coach. I know Black Poppy. I please bring this back. Okay, I think I read this last time. I did. Mama. You are hilarious with your Tatum bit. It never gets old. Stay safe, coach. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I read all this. Perfecto. Let me see if anything else came up. Yes, it did. Of course. So many novels, one coffee per paragraph. Oh my gosh. Big Way Paloy, you're waiting in Miss Chris Vid's channel, and I am waiting on your IG response. I don't know. Well, what did you say? I think you want me to like do stuff. I'm not concentrated on. The only thing I need is someone to help me find information. That's the only thing I need right now. Because then the merch ideas and all of that, like I don't know what to do about that, but that's not my focus, right? My focus is not selling things. My focus is making a better show. So anybody who can find me information, that's the key thing that I'm looking for right now. I'm not really looking for someone with logo ideas and stuff like that. Like I need somebody who can be my daisy. Be my daisy, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just looking for a daisy. I'm running through the fields just looking for a daisy. That's what I'm looking for right now. So that's the basic of that, If it's like merch stuff, I don't know. Like, you send it to me. If you have ideas, just send me the merch ideas, I guess. But it's like, I don't know what I do with it. And then like, what? I'm going to use it. You're going to sue me? Okay. All right. Sounds great. I know you wouldn't do that, Big Goy. Big Goy Paloy wouldn't do that. I know that 100%, but still. Yeah, we'll figure something out. That's a link. Not gonna click it. Video of curtains, timestamp 6 minutes. I'm definitely not gonna put that in my browser. And then the Massey ticket. That's it. Okay, perfect. Thank you guys so much. Co-host, kind of. I mean, if they can, it's hard to request somebody. I'm not like Baron. I'm not happening at like the evening or night. It's morning, so that's a hard find. But someone who can bring me research, that is what I like the most. But not research that they want to do, research that I need, not what they think I need. The things that I need someone to look into. Like I should be looking at Ben Shapiro videos. Why aren't I doing a video where I'm impersonating Ben Shapiro? Why isn't that happening? I'm just saying, why isn't there a whole live stream where I'm Officer Tatum? What's going on? It's because I don't look at their videos enough. So I need someone to research Ben Shapiro, Officer Tatum, Graham Allen, Gary's dumbass. I mean, Baron, of course, Candace, of course, Tucker, of course. You know what I mean? Like I'm looking for that type of stuff. That's what I'm looking for. So I'm looking. I don't need a Discord. First off, I do have a Discord already, but I need a person that's their job. Not when you know what I mean? That's what I need. I don't need a mountain of people just like sending all sorts of things. I need one person where that's their job, and that's it. Anyway, just putting it out there. But we'll talk. But I know Big Goy Paloy's watching, so at least you know that in terms of response. Because I don't even know where your message is. You have to understand, I get hundreds of messages every single day. I can't even keep track of my own friends anymore. They just get lost in everything. It's nuts. I should have started a different Instagram, but I didn't. I left it as my personal one. So it's like it's all befuddled now. I'm all befuddled now, ladies and gentlemen. But anyways, guys, thank you guys so much for showing up today. Candace will be back tomorrow. You will not see her today. From what I know, unless something has changed, Candace will not be stepping in today. Baron might, but I'm not 100% sure. But if you are in his Discord, or if you're in his fan Discord, I should say, you will see him give you an update on that, or you'll see Daisy give an update on that. Someone said, I'll be your co-host. I can start tomorrow. Wow, that's amazing. Message me on Instagram. What's your name? Tara? Message me on Instagram. We'll see what's up. Because that's the main thing I'm looking for right now. I need to, also I need someone who knows about makeup. How do I do whiteface? How do I give myself red hair? Just so you guys understand like the direction I want to take the show in. How do I give myself white skin and red hair? How do I make it look like I'm a black guy with hair that has like a little goatee thing going on there? How do I do that? How do I make myself look like Ben Shapiro? How do I do that? That's what I'm looking for. No, not AI. You can't do AI. No. It's like saying AI to Drewski. No. Think Drewski. Don't think AI. Think Drewski. How do I make that happen? I want makeup. Don't want nonsense. Don't want nonsense AI. I want makeup. I want to know how that works. How do I do that? That's also something I'm looking for. Anyways, someone said that's something I can do for you. Message me on Instagram or email me. I don't know, whatever you're more comfortable with. But anyways, guys, I have to get out of here. I expect to see some messages. Someone said zinc. Not that white. Not that white, Talk about beige. Anyways, guys, I will be back. There'll definitely be a video coming out for the night shifters, for the pre-recorded people who love their little pre-recorded videos. We will be back tomorrow. We will talk about various things. There are things developing right now that I have not talked about. But anyways, I'll see you tomorrow. Crap. Oh, I didn't even end it. When I click end stream. It usually ends the stream, but this time it didn't. So we're just here awkward. Now it's an awkward goodbye. Okay. It usually ends. Oh my gosh. All right. Hit the like on your way out, guys. I'm out of here.